Offseason is going. Obviously, the big switch at the plate for him. Will that carry over? And why the switch now? Now decide to make the switch? Why didn't they do it 2 years earlier? We'll ask him about that and maybe some of the thought process that went into that. Plus, maybe working a little NFL news with him. We know he's also a pretty big NFL fan and a Chiefs fan as well. So that's coming up in 30 minutes right here on your home for the Royals and home for KC Sports. Hope you're having a great Wednesday. You guys can always hit us up on the Jay's Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. We'll talk a little college hoops here in 15 minutes or so because Big 12 tournament well underway now. K-State got their opening round win. They will take on Baylor later on tonight. Kansas will open up their Big 12 tournament action tonight against UCF. And then Missouri, they got to wait one more day. The Missouri Tigers do not play until
SEC's
tomorrow.
got a lot of teams.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy the way the tournament lays out. But we'll talk some college hoops, man, because today and tomorrow, I mean, no matter what conference you're in, you pretty much have 4 games in every single conference today and tomorrow, at least. Plus some finals going on in some of the other. I mean, there's a college basketball game that starts in 30 minutes. The Big 12 tournament game with Iowa State and Cincinnati starts about an hour and a half from now. And, of course, our Big 12 tournament coverage on 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views. But we do start with the Chiefs. Yesterday, when Christian Fulton was signed, at the end of that conversation, we said, okay, this has got to put them over the cap. So what's their move before the league year starts, which is today, by the way? What's the move? Somebody's got to get restructured. Maybe there's a Trey Smith extension. Well, we got our answer earlier this morning. The Chiefs restructured the contract of both Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones, freed up $49.4 million.
Oh, that's all?
Yeah, just a nice little cash wire transfer from
$50 million
Clark Hunt.
restructure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that truly, this is where we joke about some of the owners, right, and who's willing to pony up cash. Like, for you to do what they just did, restructuring, it's not like Chris Jones and Patrick Mahomes are taking less money. No. This is, hey, do you care if we
want some of
convert
your money
this
now?
to a bonus? So, yeah, you're going to get the money like today, tomorrow, or whatever the day is, right? Instead of having to wait throughout the entire season, and we get the cap relief we need. The Chiefs have done this time and time again, and that is where I will, as much as we discuss the grades for owners and stuff, not every owner, a lot of them are, but not every owner is willing to do this. This is for those that say, oh, is somebody cheap or not? You're talking about actually having to pony that money up.
You got to cut a check.
And cut that check or wire transfer that thing right away, man.
And the way these things work, obviously, you get the chance to spread this out between 4 and 5 years, depending on how many years left on your contract you have. In Mahomes' case, they can spread this signing bonus out over a 5-year period of time. And in Chris Jones' sake, currently they could do 4 years unless they added a void year. All the contract restructure numbers aren't out yet, so we don't know exactly how much of Patrick Mahomes or exactly how much of Chris Jones they've moved yet, but they moved $50 million. Pete Sweeney over there at Pride, he had given like a bit of an estimate, which I think is helpful to make these moves, and everybody they got under the cap. So they got to be under the cap, right? By the time Trey Smith's $23 million full cap hit comes on the books this afternoon, or noon? What time is whatever free agency opens?
Yeah, it's this afternoon, I think.
So when it opens officially, they got to be under the cap. This creates, by most people's estimates, somewhere between $5 and $10 million in remaining cap space the Chiefs will have right now. Because we don't know the structure of some of the deals, like Nick Bolton and how much he's making in year one and some of these other guys, we don't have the full number yet, Gold. But this gives them enough money that technically they could make another move. But moving this amount of money only means Trey Smith's not getting done before 3 o'clock today.
I would be very surprised. Otherwise, yeah, why the need to do this? And at 3 o'clock our time, I guess, officially is when everything begins, even though it's already happened for the last 72 hours or so. That's why it's so weird. But from a cap purpose, today does matter. And the other part, too, is, all right, you mentioned the dollar amount that they still have to wiggle with. There's the draft class that you have to have money set aside for as well. Is there another move to happen? Because, I mean, they've addressed corner with Christian Fulton. We know they've obviously addressed left tackle. They addressed, to a certain extent, wide receiver. I think they're pretty good. If they want to bring in some other veteran that slips through the cracks over the next couple of days, fine. But, I don't think they're in the Cooper Cup game, nor do I want them to be in the Cooper Cup game. You see some of the deals that went, DeAndre Hopkins, I don't think anybody wanted him back. He signed yesterday.
$5 million, though, like that kind of level.
He signed nothing deal with the Ravens. If you told me DeMarcus Robinson would have been available for kind of sure, but he ended up signing with the 49ers, I believe I saw last night.
Yeah, he did.
So if there's somebody way down the line of a veteran wide receiver, fine. Otherwise, just address that in the draft. I think you're pretty good there. And then we already talked about the running back spot. you got Elijah Mitchell. Cool. Nice flyer you're taking on him, but probably still need to go draft one. But this conversion of money was something we figured was going to happen for Mahomes. We just didn't know if the Trey Smith extension was going to be part of it or if Chris Jones would do it. But Mahomes getting converted when he had the cap that he had, I mean, I think that's going to happen a lot of times.
It's the single best contract in the NFL because of this. Because at any time, you need to just unlock the door and turn money into signing bonus. And at some point, you're going to rip up this whole deal anyway, which is crazy too. But at some point down the road, if you got to like turn the key and free up some money, you have the chance to do that if you're Patrick Mahomes and if you're the Chiefs. That's why he signed the deal he did during that time. Is there any part of you that fears a little that you can't keep restructuring in perpetuity forever? Like, I don't want to turn into the Saints or anything, right? I'm not trying to screw the cap so bad that eventually there is no out. And I've seen them with no out. That happened under John Dorsey. They had to let a lot of people go. They didn't spend much money in free agency, and the money they did spend was poor and ill-advised in the very early going, and he got fired, as a result of that. The Chiefs, to this point, have been able to outrun it. They've never been able to not pay for, generally, the type or level of player that they would like to keep around. They've paid Chris Jones. They've paid Patrick Mahomes. They tried to pay Tyreek Hill. I assume they'll pay McDuffie and Kelsey and all these other guys. They haven't had any trouble, to this point, keeping those money on the books. But like the more and more you just keep shoving this Mahomes problem down the road. Every year, it's how much money are we restructuring this time? And maybe they got an idea of their budget and how much they're going to spend and everything else in between. And maybe a mini Hugh's going to be cheaper than we think, because I thought, like, when I saw Turk Warren's deal, I'm like, are we sure a mini Hugh's going to be cheap? And then Bosa's deal was pretty cheap. So like maybe he's in that range to go out there in Buffalo. So like, I don't know, maybe in there, but I'm glad that they have this option, because otherwise they would be screwed cap-wise. That's the truth. They'd be in a Derek Carr Saints situation if they had not structured this contract in a way that allowed them to unlock all this.
But I would say that when they project, though, they also wouldn't have done certain things over the last couple of years. Like, that's,
Can I do devil's advocate for actually doing what the Saints did?
Sure.
You're fine with what the Saints did?
So, not in the long-term picture, but if you were to say they restructured Mahomes' contract continuously over the next, let's say, 5 years, whatever the case is, they did it every single time to make sure that in these next 5 years, they give themselves every single solitary chance to win the Super Bowl. Let's say they win 2 or 3 more, give or take, in the next 5 years. If they end up like the Saints at the tail end of Mahomes' career, I think it will have all been worth it.
Well,
Whereas
sure.
if you say you can get 2 or 3 more,
because the Saints are in the situation because they put it all on the line for Breeze,
and they didn't win anything. Where if you put it all on the line and you win, I think fans, I know that it would suck and you might not be very good for a while. But if it meant that you got 2 or 3 more during Mahomes' tenure, I think getting yourself in that sort of a hole is actually worth it in the end.
Of course, yeah, I'm with you. I would say though, and I think it was Cody that brought up the Saints. I think they're quite a bit different situations currently. Drew Brees, when they mortgaged the future to keep him around for 1 or 2 more years, I believe Brees was already 37 or 38 years old. The Chiefs are restructuring, converting stuff when Mahomes is 29, 30. So, like, even if you're like 5 years from now, Mahomes is still only 35. Like, so I just don't think it's the same worry as what the Saints were doing. Now, if you told me Mahomes is 37 and he's in Kansas City and they're like, hey, we want you to finish your career here, and when he's 37 and 38, they're pushing, kicking the tire down the road,
and
that's a whole different.
Accepting they're going to be bad after he's gone?
That would be the direct comparison. Right now, what they're doing is not what the Saints did.
I think it's worth to accept that you're going to be really bad after Mahomes is done just because you need to.
I can live with that.
Yeah, I think people can live
look
with
at the Patriots. Post Tom Brady, they've been really, really bad, and they're now maybe turning the corner finally. Yeah, that kind of stuff. I mean, that of course, is the trade-off anybody would make. I'm just pushing back on the notion that like what the Chiefs are doing currently with Mahomes' deal is identical, and they're going to end up in the same spot as the Saints. I firmly disagree with that because Breeze, they were doing that when he was at the end of his career. Mahomes has another, we think, 8 to 10 years left in the league probably.
Which means you can keep kicking the can down the road. But at some point, he's going to want all of this money that you're like spreading out over the course of years, but it doesn't, I don't know. He'll get it.
I mean, his cap hit is down to
30 or more.
His cap hit right now is down to 38.8 after the conversion for this year. Next year, $75 million. The year after, it's $71. We also know that because of the deal Josh Allen just got, that when they redid Mahomes' deal in 2023, they said they would revisit it after the 2026 season. So there's a very good chance, and after that season, by the way, he will be 31, going into age 32. So the new deal is probably happening after next season anyway. And at that point in time, where's the cap? And are you ripping up the current deal and you're just adding and you're just doing a brand new contract or an extension? I'm not worried about where their cap might be in 2033, which is basically what you're asking me to worry about. And I'm not gonna do that yet.
No, I understand the notion that's is it getting a little too far ahead? But we all agreed at some point or at least discussed hey, do they at some point, and I still think that this is the case, do they at some point need to find a year where they just eat the Mahomes number? This is the number. We're paying you your number, and we move on. Because next year was supposed to be a $68 million or $63 million cap.
$75 million.
And now it's $75 million, right? Because you can spread it out over a 5-year time period.
They're going to do another extension. I guess what I'm saying is they're going to do another extension. And so that then, does it become the final year when he's 37 or 38? The only time that you would even have to worry.
And by then, who knows what the NFL cap is?
That's the other thing. I mean, the cap over the last 2 years has gone up over $50 million. There's with the international games they're playing, with the new streaming partners, there's no reason to believe that over a 2-year period it's not going to continue to go up at a $50 million rate.
And he probably won't be a $78 million cap hit next year. I'm just going to tease it ahead now.
Yeah,
he probably
will
either
not be playing
do
at
a new
$75
deal,
million.
or he will restructure again. By the way, he's, funny enough, not even the projected highest cap hit next year. That is still Deshaun Watson, congratulations, at $81 million. But if you look at it, it's not like some of his contemporaries aren't also massive cap hits. Dak is a $76 million one. Lamar is $74 next year. Jared Goff, $69. Derek Carr, $69. Josh Allen, $63. So, if Pat Mahomes is a $15 million higher cap hit next year, that's not exactly out of control either. It's not like a runaway number. It feels so huge because you're 78.
Yeah, we will get
but
to
it's
a
not
point,
as crazy as you think.
We'll get to a point in time where the standard cap number that's not even crazy for quarterbacks will be, $60 million a year here in about 5 years. You're oh yeah, obviously he's accounting for $60 million of the cap. That'll just be where we're at. Right now, you're man, you got the 75 down to 38. Great. Eventually, we're gonna be saying, oh, the cap hit that was 80, you got that down to where it's only 55 or 60 on the books. And that's the only difference.
And it won't feel weird because to that same thing, I brought you up to Bill Barnwell. It's being a $78 million cap hit is probably the same as being a 45 years ago. It doesn't. It's not as crazy as it sounds because the NFL cap numbers have continued to balloon. And I also think that this is where these teams get into this mindset where they can outrun it forever. If it keeps going up at this rate, they can't outrun it forever. That's the truth. Is that if it goes up at the percentage it's been going up over the last 3 years, you can outrun the cap for the rest of your life. You can just outrun. It doesn't matter if you got two nickels to rub together before the season starts. You can, in one fell swoop, well, two technically because of Mahomes and Jones, clear up $50 million in cap space in an afternoon. It wasn't even that hard. They're just okay, convert.
Yeah, they have chosen.
Cool, write a check.
Each team, each front office has to decide how they maneuver the cap, right? There's still a cheat code every team can use if they want. The Eagles have decided to use the void years kind of as their cheat code, which can really come back to bite you. The Chiefs have chosen consistently during Mahomes' era to do the conversion. They're not the only team that does it, but that's clearly the tool they like to use, and they feel more comfortable in doing. It requires your owner using the cash that he has. It also means with a player like Mahomes, not every team has that, of course, with the length of the contract and everything, that you can feel fine about. You're not worried that in a couple of years, if he actually does make $70 million on the cap, you feel okay, that's the guy I'm okay with that happening to. You can't really do that with 90% of quarterbacks in the league. So this is the tool they utilize. Other teams choose the void year thing, and the Chiefs have really shied away from the void years. Honestly, that's what they've chosen this path, and they feel like that's not as dangerous or could be as controversial in terms of, or consequential, for their cap going forward.
Yeah, and again, they're choosing the void years because they're hoping the cap will go up, that this amount of negative carry you have in every year doesn't even matter. Now, because we know what the Chiefs' cap situation is, we look at the rest of the AFC West. We know where they are cap-wise, too, Gold. And we knew the Chargers had a ton of money. We knew the Broncos had some money. We knew the Raiders needed a quarterback, and they went after Geno Smith. How do we feel about the off seasons for some of these teams so far? Let's start with the Broncos, because I think you and I both agree that I think they've had the best offseason of the three. And honestly, I hate to say this because nobody likes to hear this. The Broncos over the last 2 to 3 years have been making consecutive smart decisions in a row over and over to the point that they look like kind of a well-oiled organization making a lot of good moves. Specifically on defense this year, they were already a really good defense. They look like they got a lot better.
Yeah, I think their offseason has been really good. They still have the draft ahead. We'll see where they've been at, but they've hit on draft picks, multiple picks. They also have stability on their offensive line, and they got a quarterback on a rookie deal that now that they're even further removed from the Russell Wilson contract, they're going to start to reap the benefit of having a rookie quarterback, now a second-year quarterback, but that contract, I should say, because they were still paying, as we know, Russell Wilson. I think there's still money on the books. I don't know the exact dollar amount that they're paying Russ because of the contract, but they go out, and you're right on defense. I think that's what, there was already a pretty good defensive attack. We all know that, having seen them twice last year, but they add Drake Greenlaw, the linebacker from the 49ers. He goes ahead and gets a deal with them. Talanu Hufanga or whatever his name is there, the safety for the 49ers, signs a $45 million deal over 3 years, so they bolster their secondary. Like I think you got to be impressed with what the Broncos have done there. They also had DJ Jones, the defensive tackle, on a 3-year deal for $39 million. So defensively, they shored that up for sure, and I think the Broncos, out of the other AFC West teams, I actually think they had the best offseason to this point, I should say, free agency to this point.
But have they done anything to help Bo Nix? Normally, when you get this young guy, you load up on wide receivers.
That's probably coming in the draft. They're probably going to go offense in the draft because so far they're free agent
right now,
signings.
it's like, who the hell's he throwing to still? It's not exactly like, ooh, oh no, I quake in fear.
They have one offensive signing so far, and it's Trent Sherfield, I guess a special teams player, basically. I think he was in Buffalo not too long ago, or the Vikings, I'm sorry, last year. So the draft, I would guess, would be my thought. They're probably going to go towards the draft.
He might be a place that Burden could go to.
Could be, but it's
he's been in that conversation.
It's still kind of tough, though, because it doesn't create this instant avenue of immediate connection. Rookie wide receivers are a 50-50 shot in year one. We've talked about this a million times. If you think of rookies coming in just getting 1,000 yards, 800 yards, there are a couple every year, but not
so
all
is Cooper
of them.
Kupp maybe an option there, where you get the vet
maybe
in the room?
They need somebody else. Otherwise, I'm going to still wonder whether or not they can hang offensively.
Who is it? It's Cortland Sutton. It's Vele, Sherfield.
Yeah,
Troy Franklin, who they drafted in the 3rd or 4th round last year.
Not a good unit.
Yeah.
It's just not a good unit. The Chargers, by the way, not impressed at all. Najee Harris, who I think has been overrated since the second he stepped into the league. Oh no, not Najee. They signed a corner. They're better. They brought Khalil Mack back, but he wasn't all that good for them last year, and they fully guaranteed $18 million to him.
It's 1 year.
I have no idea how they're planning on getting a pass rush. And again, we can mention the draft, but to the same point, yes, there's a chance that all your defensive line draft picks hit. There's also a chance that they're not very good, and your pass rush stinks. To put your entire pass rush on one rookie pass rusher, the Chargers, they might have gotten worse. I'm not sure that they've gotten better on paper based on this early free agency period.
I wonder if we'll see, of course, the draft, but now this third tier of free agency, sometimes where you can get better value deals. They had a ton of cap space, and they, other than the Najee Harris dude, they haven't done it. It's not a good free agent class. Yeah, so you don't overspend if you can prevent that from happening. We know Ladd McConkey was really impressive as his rookie year, but who are they adding to complement? Josh Palmer's not there anymore. He's now in Buffalo. He signed that deal. So what's the wide receiver room? Again, I guess the draft maybe is part of the answer, but could they also be a destination right there in LA? Could Cooper Kupp be a fit? I don't think so, because to me, Ladd McConkey, you're going to add Cooper Kupp to the mix. You would think they would want another, I guess, more of a long-term option. That's where I think they could spend one of their top picks on a wide receiver, because where are the Chargers picking? What, in the 17th?
Yeah, but they're not much
18th?
Better on defense than they were a year ago. Now, they were really good defense, and I thought Harbaugh, maybe he just thinks he can coach them. I'll coach these guys to be good, and that appeared to be the case, because their defensive structure was not way different than the year before, and they went from one of the league's worst defenses to one of the league's better defenses.
They were one of the teams that was rumored to be in contention to trade for Trey Hendrickson too. So maybe that's
Chargers
a big
pick 22nd.
22nd. So maybe that's a thought, though, that is Trey Hendrickson a destination for the Chargers, and that'd be the replacement for Joey Bosa. They would get a guy that stayed healthy.
Then
you
have my attention.
17.5 sacks. Yeah.
Do we even care about the Raiders offseason?
Look, Geno Smith, brand new quarterback. I think we hinted at this yesterday. I still think you think Bo Nix is a little bit worse, but I still think there's an argument that Geno Smith's the worst quarterback in this division. And so if you're going through and ranking out quarterbacks and coaches in the division, the Raiders still might be towards the bottom of that, if not the very bottom. And that's the thing. Like your stability, respectability, yeah, Pete Carroll brings that. Geno Smith brings a baseline level of QB play that's better than what you've had when you've had Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew as your quarterback. He's obviously an upgrade from that. But when you're in a division with Mahomes and Herbert and Bo Nix, I think you're still clearly behind everybody else.
I'm really interested to see what they do in the draft. Because, I mean, if they get Travis Hunter at 6, all of a sudden you get a playmaker that I would assume Pete might be good with him playing both sides of the ball.
I mean, at best,
I don't
there's
know.
6 or 7 wins, man. There was almost no offseason they could have that I was going to talk myself into this being like a 9-win team.
How many wins did they have last year?
I don't know, 5, 4.
I think
6.
best case scenario, the Raiders could get to 8 or 9 wins this year.
I don't think
it's
I wouldn't be surprised.
as low as 5 maybe. This last year, the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's see. Obviously, they beat
4-13.
Yeah,
8-9 the year before, 6-11 the year before that.
Antonio Pierce, let's just be honest, was not a good head coach for that football team. They went with the interim thing. It never works in the NFL. It just doesn't. They went with what Max Crosby wanted to keep him happy, and it backfired. And now they have a guy that does truly, like, I think the bar has been raised there a little bit because Pete Carroll brings respectability. To me, you're not going to have the embarrassing performances and coaching mistakes and losing track of clock management and just like real basic stuff where someone's in over their head. And that's not going to happen with Pete Carroll. But if everything went great, Brock Bowers, stud, Geno has a great year, they draft whoever, whether it's Travis Hunter or anybody else, if everything goes great, they're like an 8 or 9 win team.
I guess. They've only won 9 games or more once since 2017, double digit, or like above 500 twice in a decade.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So that's the whole point about Pete Carroll brings a different level to it. But yeah, if you think
that
they're
covers
winning
1, 2, 3, 4.
I might have a bold prediction. I don't know how bold this is. The Raiders are going to finish higher in the division than at least the LA Chargers.
Ooh, man, you hate the Chargers.
It's a bold prediction.
But again, so the bar for them, I mean, like, that's where we're at, though, with the Raiders. We're like, wow, they might not finish in last, which gets you, what, 8 or 9 wins, maybe. Yeah. Like, the Chargers.
They would have finished last with 9 wins last year. So, I mean, in fairness, that's how good the division is.
I mean, do we think anybody got worse in the division? Like, I know there's people nationally. Well, yeah, I mean, like, people nationally, some people would say the Chiefs have gotten worse. But do we honestly think that the Broncos or the Chiefs are going to do much worse overall than they did? Like, I don't know if the Chiefs are winning 15 games, but like, do we think the Chiefs are going to suddenly fall back to a 10-win team? No. I sure as heck don't. Do I think that the Raiders are going to jump up to a 10-win team? No, I don't. The Chargers, do I think they're falling back to a 7-win team? I don't. It sounds like maybe you think they do, Drew. But like, I just don't believe with what Harbaugh has built there that they're going to have a huge fall. I think they'll be right in the same world that they were in this past year, and the Broncos as well. These teams are going to be in the same kind of slot of wins as they were a year ago. Maybe the Chiefs tighten up the division more because they only win 12 games or 11 games.
I think that it might be the toughest division in football.
The NFC
Depends
North,
on what J.J. McCarthy does.
Yeah, I would
probably the truth.
I'd probably say the NFC North, unless the Lions without Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn kind of fall apart. What does that look like?
Those are the two toughest, at least in terms of what we're looking at on paper, based on what we saw last season as well.
Yeah, it's definitely not the NFC West. It's definitely not the AFC. It's definitely not the NFC East, even though the Eagles were just in the Super Bowl and the Commanders obviously had a good year. AFC with the Giants South, right now that don't have a quarterback, AFC North is always tough. The only tricky thing right now, the Steelers don't have a quarterback on the roster,
and the Browns.
The Browns don't either, really.
No, they do. They got Kenny Pickett. Yeah. So they have former Steeler Kenny Pickett. So they technically do have their starter.
Please.
That's who they're gonna start.
There's speculation.
I think a good starter. I just said they have a starter.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. There's some speculation that Rodgers could make a decision today, and that maybe clears things up.
That was one of the funniest headlines from like somebody over in Pittsburgh doing radio. Just said, Aaron Rodgers is holding the Steelers franchise hostage. I'm like, no offense, if you flirt with Aaron Rodgers, this is the game, my guy. I'm sorry. Is this news to you?
What else?
Have you not been following?
Else that they can do.
Yeah.
Even if Aaron Rodgers wasn't on the market, what are they doing? Like, are they actually?
Russ is the only option.
The only place Russ is going to be a starter is Pittsburgh. I'm convinced if Aaron Rodgers ends up as a Steeler, Russell Wilson does not have a starting job to begin 2025.
If the Steelers if they want to see, they're in quarterback hell like the Colts were a few years ago when they were doing the Phillip Rivers and Matt Ryan deal.
Yeah.
The Steelers, they have to, and we've talked about this before. they have to have a bad season, or they have to give up their entire future of picks in order to try and get, whether it's Arch Manning next year or whatever the case is. Because if you get Aaron Rodgers, he's better. They'd be better off with Russell Wilson probably in terms of getting the quarterback that they want for the future.
This is the dilemma in Pittsburgh that they've talked about for multiple seasons, and it's Mike Tomlin's a great head coach. He gets you in the playoffs, which is all is what every franchise would want.
Yeah,
but when you're in the playoffs and you're one and done every time, you're stuck in mediocrity. And what you just laid out, Drew, you can't go find the quarterback of the future, and you're just stuck in a weird way. Yeah, you would take a horrific year from Tomlin and win 4 games this year if it meant that you could go next year and get your quarterback of the future. I'm convinced that most Steelers fans would be okay with that. I really am. But that's just not how the NFL, like if you're Mike Tomlin, why would you agree to that? You know what I mean? Because you're probably getting fired at that point, even though he would find a job immediately. It's a terrible spot. We say this all the time. That's why I like the Jets as much as we're going to make. They've been awful for years is the problem. They've had their chance to draft quarterbacks and they haven't. But like this year, Justin Fields, I think they're going to be horrific. I think they're going to suck. But that might be a really good thing for them long term. That organization, do you trust that their ownership can draft the right guy? That's the problem there in New York. But anyway, up next, we'll talk some baseball. MJ Melendez is going to call on the show from Surprise, Arizona. We'll talk some NFL. We'll discuss his change at the plate next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Man, maybe you've just been like, I don't know, I don't want to do the normal stuff. Doesn't feel like your exercise is going the same. Maybe a little weight gain. All of these things can be signs of low testosterone. At the Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. So then you can just find out. Don't just sit around and wonder. Find out over at the Low T Center. Simple test, on-site lab. You get the results back right there. And at the Low T Center, it's not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low T with testosterone replacement therapy, so TRT. For each individual patient, they optimize a plan so that it's for you. No standard treatments over at the Low T Center, just a plan that works for you. If you've been wondering for a while, like maybe I just don't feel right, something a little bit off, the Low T Center could have the answer for you, and it might very well just be low testosterone. For current patients, the Low T Center is going to offer you a $150 referral credit if you tell them what a great time you're having over there, and for each new patient that you refer. And at the Low T Center, you can get your health evaluated for prescription GLP-1 medications. So get back to your best. Go to the lowtcenter.com, book your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Jefferson's has a brand new happy hour designed to save you money. Enjoy half off appetizers and half off your bar tab. 7 days a week at Jefferson's Lenexa and Jefferson's North Kansas City. Yeah, you heard that right. Half off your bar tab during happy hour at both locations. And it gets even better. Mondays are all day happy hour. Plus, they've got reverse happy hour every night. Whether you're catching the game or just kicking back with family and friends, Jefferson's in Lenexa and North Kansas City is the place to be. Proudly local and always delicious. Jefferson's. Wings, burgers, oysters.
Spring may not officially be here until March 20th, but at Ryan Lawn & Tree, we've been preparing for spring all winter. This is Larry Ryan. Unlike companies that shut down for the season, our full-time Ryan pros train nonstop, studying the latest science to deliver even better results every year. No one brings more care and expertise to your lawn and landscape than a Ryan Pro in the Clean Rad truck. Ryan Pros are full-time employee owners, many with degrees in horticulture and turf management. If you ever have a question or a special need, you never call an 800 number. You call your Ryan Pros mobile number and talk to an owner. Get your free lawn instant quote online. Just visit ryanlawn.com/spring and get started today. Sign up this month and take 50% off your first lawn application. Our 50% off spring offer is the only one that comes with a Ryan Pro. Visit ryanlawn.com/spring today.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold once again telling you about our friends over at Centric, and we've all been dealing with this brutal weather in Kansas City. Maybe you work outside and look, you've just had enough. Well, you can start a brand new career with our friends over at Centric because they allow you to advance your career on your time with their flexible schedules.
You choose your curriculum, go with that new career path, and stop worrying about what the weather will do for you. Call our guy Russ Mondry. He's been with Centric for 16 years, and will be with you to guide you every step of the way. Go to Centric.com now.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
It's Power Torque Tools DIY days at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Lifetime guaranteed Power Torque professional hand tools only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Your life, your goals, your legacy. With a dedicated Fidelity advisor, it's all part of a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Visit fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by calling 844-300-LEAF to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water, and it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty, so you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Call Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate and to save up to 30%. Dial 844-300-LEAF. That's 844-300-LEAF.
What would you do if you could go back in time with the tap of a button?
Watch the ancient Egyptians build the pyramids?
How'd they do it?
Buy enough Bitcoin to purchase your very own private island.
Or maybe just skip the joke that flopped at the holiday party.
Unfortunately, we haven't figured out how to rewind time. But you can rewind live shows with the free Odyssey app.
Never miss your favorite sports talk again. To get started, download Odyssey and search for your station.
The technicians you can trust with your house keys. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
Money-back guarantees and parts and labor warranties mean you're not just buying products, you're securing your investment. For a limited time, receive a free furnace when you purchase an AC. Schedule a complimentary proposal online at anthonyphce.com.
Opening day coverage is brought to you by Hollywood Casino. Stop by Hollywood Casino every Wednesday in March from 12 until 2 to register for your chance to win opening day tickets. Your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Be sure to go to 965thefan.com for the Fiery Hot Sevens contest where you can win a $30 instant scratch ticket and one person's going to win the grand prize. That's a Bobby Witt Jr. autographed jersey, framing included, all thanks to our friends at the Kansas Lottery. We'll get back into the Chiefs here in 10 minutes or so, including somebody that'll be a former Chief signing with a different team yesterday. We kind of thought
Feels
that was
very familiar.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah, very much so. But let's talk a little baseball. Let's go out to Arizona and welcome in Royals outfielder MJ Melendez, who joins us here on Cody and Gold. MJ, good to have you on the show, man. Before we get to some baseball, I know you follow the NFL a little bit. A lot going on. I know some of your teammates probably talking about Justin Fields being the quarterback there in New York. And I forgot, who is the team that you normally root for?
Yeah, no, I like the Chiefs. Pretty basic. Being there in Kansas City, I don't have, anybody else that I root for. So, been following along with all the, stuff that's been going on with, around the league for sure.
I'm guessing your teammates there, Vinny, and I guess Jonathan India is a Jets fan too. They just signed Justin Fields, so maybe Massey's going to have to give them some advice on the former Bears quarterback.
Yeah, something like that. That's a pretty interesting sign. So I'm curious to see how he does there in New York. That's going to be definitely interesting to say the least.
Is it ever like, I think for a lot of the guys we talk to, MJ, it's not. So it's, I guess, weird for you individually to be like a fan of a different sport, knowing that you're a professional athlete. Do you treat it different? I don't care if it's the NBA, NFL. Do you treat it different, knowing how someone might treat you as a professional athlete or anything else? Do you kind of handle it more than you would otherwise?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like sometimes, fans or whatnot can get pretty ruthless. So I definitely, not that I understand the struggles of the sports, and, professional sports are not easy at all. So, definitely give them grace. Not everybody's going to have the best game. But I definitely, I like, other than that, no, I just, I love watching the games. I love being a fan of the game and the team.
What's the sport you would have played if it wasn't this one? That's the classic question, right?
Oh, for sure, football. I played football in middle school and high school, so that would definitely be the move.
I guess always because I assume baseball players have arms. Was it quarterback, or did you play like something else?
Yeah, I played quarterback and corner, but I feel like I was better quarterback. I could handle my own, too, on defense, but quarterback, I feel like I can sling it, and I'm pretty accurate as well.
We're talking to Royals outfielder MJ Melendez here on 96.5 The Fan. Thinking of football, someone that was able to do both. Bo Jackson, I understand. I don't know if you have a chance to have any interaction with him, but I guess he's there at Surprise right now.
Yeah. Bo's been around, obviously, a lot over the years that I've been here in Kansas City or Arizona. He's coming here a lot, but with Kansas City, I've been able to have some conversations with him, and obviously pretty cool to see, a living legend, after he's played and, get to pick his brain a little bit.
I'd asked Vern, he's been down there with you guys, and I guess I'm just kind of curious, what do you think the attitude difference is this spring training versus last time, right? Like, now you guys know you can win, you've been to the playoffs, you got more confidence. Like, do you sense more urgency or more pressure? Like, how's the spring training feel different than a year ago?
I mean, it's just, it's different only because we actually went to the playoffs, but I think, we had the belief last year, so it's just going to the same, it's this year, with the same belief. Obviously, we want to get further. We want to win a World Series. That's the goal, and we fell short of that goal last year, but nonetheless, we had a great year, and now it's just building upon that.
How do you view this year individually for you? How pivotal of a year do you view this as?
Yeah, I mean, every year is an important year, but, was able to, kind of make some changes this offseason, make some adjustments. Obviously, the game is a tough one. It's you have to adjust to it to be able to survive, and, that was my goal this offseason, and, just do something so I can be a little bit more consistent, day to day and throughout a whole season.
What about some of those changes, at the plate, and just how you feel about that? We understand that was something that you were extremely receptive to.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that, I went into the offseason knowing I needed to do. Was able to, talk to my dad a lot about it. It's something that my dad had been kind of asked me to do for, a couple years now, and I've just been a little bit stubborn and hard-headed. So, I definitely give the credit to him in terms of, what made me, first decide to go and make those changes and, just going into the offseason perfecting that.
What was the fear around it, I guess, MJ? Like, if you go back and you're like, why you feel like you were being stubborn? Is it because of the power you've shown in the bigs or in the minors? Is it, like, what was it that was, like, so hard to let go of is the previous stance?
Yeah, I mean, I had been, hitting with a leg kick my whole entire life, so that was probably, one of the one of the toughest things. Obviously, it's a completely different timing mechanism what I'm doing now. I've been able to get a lot of at-bats this spring, and which has definitely helped me get, more comfortable with that and more used to it because, like I said, I'd been doing something a certain way my whole entire life. Of course, I had, some success in the minor leagues, with the way I was hitting, especially, in 21. And even when I got first called up to the big leagues. But just obviously change is hard. Nobody likes change. So, that's probably just why it took long. It's just obviously change and doing that at the highest level.
You did make a big change, obviously, when they asked you to go out to left field, even though you'd caught your entire life. Just for a couple of the other guys, like Michael or Massey or some of these other guys who were learning outfield spots too in spring training, how long did it take you to feel like 100% comfortable, like I knew what I was doing?
It took a little while. I feel like this is, obviously every year you're out there, you're going to get better and better and more comfortable. But I feel like this is the best I've felt, this spring. Even last year, I felt good, but there was still a lot of things I needed to work on, especially with my jumps off the bat. And I feel like this spring has been the best I've felt in terms of, feeling my jumps off the bat. I feel like I'm reacting a lot quicker. It took me a little bit to kind of figure out, my pre-pitch setup and how I wanted to stand. And I feel like that, the little changes I made, going into the spring on defense has helped me feel a lot more comfortable out there. And so, it just takes time, reps, obviously, just different game situations, I feel like.
Royals outfielder MJ Melendez joining us here on Cody and Gold. And we know from a fan sentiment, I'm sure the bar has been raised by you guys after what you accomplished a year ago, getting into the postseason, winning that opening series against Baltimore. When you walked into spring ball this year, did you sense that the bar, of course, for you guys has been raised by yourselves and the expectation that, hey, we're not just playing 162 games, we're playing some more games than that?
Yeah, no, we definitely, we plan on making it an annual thing to be in the playoffs. It's something that, we expect here. It's obviously last year was the first year we had done it in a while. But moving forward, that's something that we want to be, every single year. That's the expectation. That's the goal, is to be in the playoffs and obviously, to win it all.
All right, how do you spend your extra free time in spring training? Because I know there's extra free time even after the games, more than in a regular season because you're not always around some of the normal city stuff. What do you do when you're not playing baseball?
Not a whole lot, honestly. I wish I could say I went out and did more, but I really don't. I'm a pretty calm, casual person. I'm in the house a lot, honestly. I'm a homebody, so not a whole lot. Watch some Netflix and whatnot. I definitely watch some Netflix. I've been doing some card stuff out here.
I was gonna say,
been some companies that I've been able to work with and do some stuff with, and even got some cool stuff coming up as well. But I've been into the sports cards as well a lot.
That seems like more than ever. It's pretty cool to see. Baseball players in particular, I guess it makes sense, are very involved in that now. I saw you had a video, I think Caglione was doing some card rips. Is that just that like Tops and these companies now have decided to go out to spring training and kind of partner up with you guys?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely it's a fun hobby. It's really cool. It's fun to rip open packs. You never know what you can get. So I've been doing that. Obviously, Tops, Panini. And then, even just like these companies that, they have stores that they open cards on these, on the live streams and people
Right.
buy into them. And, we've gone, I know some of the guys have done this as well. And we've gone and, we've been on the live streams while people are, trying to purchase their teams for their card breaks. And we open up the cards, for them on a live stream. So it's all pretty cool. It's a nice little, it's a nice little thing that, the community, the card community has going on, and I feel like they love the athletes, when we get into the cards as well.
Yeah, I love buying into the breaks. I totally get why everybody's intrigued by it. What's the biggest pull maybe you've had recently?
The biggest pull,
whether it's
I've
your
had,
collection or even if you were ripping open cards like that you pulled for somebody else in a break.
Well, depends how recent we're talking. I've had a couple decent hits over the past few months. I had a pretty cool Wemby to 25 and this was like in the beginning of the offseason, so that was a pretty big card. And then I have a 1-of-1 Luka that I hit towards the end of the season last year with a 1-of-1 Luka auto, so that's a really cool one as well.
Nice. MJ, appreciate the time as always, man. We'll get in touch again when you get back to KC for the start of the season. Appreciate you coming on with us.
All right, no problem, guys.
There you go. That's MJ Melendez joining us here on Cody and Gold. Of course, our conversations from spring training are brought to you by Park and Go. Planning your spring getaway? Look no further than Park and Go. Open 24/7, and all spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Man, everybody, I don't say everybody, but a good chunk of the team, man, they love
the whole team. It's everybody.
Ripping packs. Someone on the text line said, hey, is he open for trades? You know who is open for trades, I can tell you? Bobby Witt Jr. when it comes to trading cards, because he has a separate Instagram account now devoted to sports cards. Now, I think it's maybe in partnership with Topps or something.
But it does say it's trades.
I believe it is his account, and he's hardcore collector, and they've been about it for a couple of years now. Not just their own cars, not just baseball, but like every sport. Jack Caglione was on Instagram Live yesterday afternoon, opening boxes of cards and stuff. So, and you guys know we've talked about. I don't delve into as much as I did a couple years ago, but and we've done the Top Shot stuff on the show way back in the day.
Still waiting for my class action lawsuit money from them.
That should be coming pretty soon. We should be getting. I think it was
I don't remember.
Is it $1 a moment or 16 cents a moment for every moment?
I probably owned.
I don't own any now.
I don't own any now, but I would bet over the course of time I owned 80 or 90 moments,
Yeah, and look, those are, of course, NFTs digital. They're ripping actual cards and stuff. But, yeah, we've had some fun with that, and maybe we'll have to rip some packs with them at some point in the future as well. As far as on the field, though, real quick, then we can pivot to the Chiefs again. Interesting how he said, look, I think it makes sense. Like, everybody, we all can be stubborn at times. He basically acknowledged, my dad was telling me to make this switch 2 years ago.
And remember, just as a background, his dad was a collegiate-level baseball coach. So, his dad could recognize some things maybe, and just, it's not just your dad. Be like, Alex, it's time to get out of radio and take your life serious. It's somebody who has a baseball background and comes from that background, and so he's been beating him over the head for years. I get it, man. And he said it, and in the minors, right?
Hit 40 homers.
40 homers, and it's like, man, I don't want, and the leg kick and all this other stuff. Fascinating to find out if it works out. If it does, that is a massive
career changer. And
a massive boost to the offense this year. If he works, then now we go 6 deep, 7 deep, and things are different.
And I think we all recognize, hey, getting confidence in spring and comfortable with the stance and everything is great. But ultimately, we all know this is all going to be about what does April and May and June, right, look like for him. And, can you avoid the long hit streak hit list streak? And if you do get in one, where do you quickly revert back to your old ways? Or are you willing to stick with this thing? It's easy to say in spring. I hope he obviously has success because, as you said, from a team perspective, let alone individually, but from a team perspective, it can change this entire offense.
Yep.
If all of a sudden, all this talk about having to get India work in left field, we had Jonathan India on the show yesterday. If you missed the interview, that's up on our podcast page and in the Odyssey app. He acknowledged, just like Michael Massey, it's a little more challenging than they thought to learn left field. It took MJ a year and a half, 2 years to get to where he's at, where now he's actually pretty darn good.
I was getting him mixed
fielder.
up, by the way. I'd asked Indy, I said, I thought you'd played one game at third. And he's like, no, I don't think so. And I was like, okay, he'd know better than me. So I went to the baseball reference page. He's played 0 games at third. Michael Massey has played 1 game at third.
Okay.
So those two guys have a 1 combined Major League Baseball game at third base, and they're going to get some time there this year.
Yeah, someone on the text line, 913-586-7965, said, where does one buy cards these days?
Lots of places.
Yeah, lots of places. There's a couple, I would say, shop local,
A dozen local shops, probably.
I mean, you can, of course, go online, but shop local. I don't want to mention every single store, but there's the Overland Park Baseball Card Store, Artist Sports in Leawood. Those are a couple that I've gone to off and on before. That if you want local, and I would encourage you to buy local. And of course, if you're looking for specific cards, they've got them, but boxes and stuff, you can go to there or eBay. They're you can find them. But
the Cody and Gold break, we'll just start doing live streams where you can buy your slot.
The breaks, I've wanted to just run one of those before.
Yeah.
Which is what some of the MJ and Jack Caglione, they've
if we did this on the show, we'd have no problem getting the slots.
Because basically how that works is, let's say there's an expensive box. Let's say it's a $800 box. Most people can't afford to go and just spend $800 on a box of cards, right?
I'd get an interesting look from my wife if I tried.
So they do breaks. And so you sell, let's say it's a baseball card, you can sell slots per team. So you sell 30 slots. And you basically would buy the Royals slot. That would have a dollar amount attached. Depending on the product, it might have a better chance of hitting. If it's a certain product, you're going for the Caglione first Bowmans. If it's a a couple years ago, you'd be going for the Bobby Wood Jr. rookie card, right? And so those slots might be more for the Royals than it is for the Miami Marlins, because the Marlins suck. They don't have anybody, right? So versus, a couple years ago when you were trying to get an Ohtani rookie card, right? That box of cards, that team slot for the Angels would have been way more. And then you get whatever card, if that card for that team is pulled, right? And so that's kind of how people are able to do higher end products without having the money to go and buy the ridiculous
without the funds.
So anyway, let's talk some Chiefs football, though, because yesterday when we were going through potential free agents that were still out there, we said, hey, do you bring back Charles Omenihu, Justin Reed? Once they brought back Nick Bolton, it seemed like they made their decision. We're not going to lose two of our biggest leaders and communicators. We're going to keep Bolton because we know we can't keep both. Well, Justin Reed yesterday signed a deal with the New Orleans Saints. And yeah, weird how history repeats itself, because when the Chiefs moved on from Tyrann Mathieu,
he signed a 3-year deal with the New Orleans Saints.
He did. And the deal that Justin Reed just signed in New Orleans is the same deal he signed in Kansas City.
Which is the same deal Tyrann Mathieu signed in New Orleans. Again, the connection is very bizarre to go with it. Look, it kind of stinks losing Justin Reed. This is the kind of player, and I always think there's a good example of these. Justin Reed is the kind of player that you sign for 3 years, and if you are doing your job as an NFL evaluator, these are the kind of players that you have to walk on. Got to walk on either Nick Bolton or Justin Reed. I would have hated paying both. I was skeptical and still am a little bit on the number they gave Nick Bolton. Had they given him that and Justin Reed money? No, thank you. You don't have to just run it back every time just because these teams have had success. At some point, you have to get younger. You have to play those younger players. You have to trust that your draft and development process works, and that Connor and Cook and others and Reed or Hicks, right, can handle the spot in the absence of Justin Reed. It just feels weird that it's the exact same player, and those three players, they should feel even weird about it. They both started in Houston, signed a free agent deal in Kansas City, went to New Orleans. Like, what the hell's going on with you two? You trying to mimic each other's career? Kind of weird, right?
It's weird how the path has ended up being similar. Yeah, I mean, look, I think Justin Reed has good football left too, though. He's still under the age of 30. I don't think Justin Reed had a bad season. I just think if you're the Chiefs, you had to make a decision. You had drafted over Justin Reed for the last couple of years and said, hey, we drafted Jaden Hicks for a reason, eventually for him to be a cost-effective option at the same position. And Shamari Connor, to a certain extent, plays a little bit different position, but kind of similar fashion. And they believe that was an area they already had pieces in-house to give them similar production in their mind. Versus linebacker, I know we both would have been fine with them drafting one, and I still think they might. But in their mind, they couldn't afford in the same offseason to lose the leadership and communication of a very complicated defensive scheme in the secondary and at the linebacker level. And I think that's why, if they would have signed Justin Reed 3 days ago, I would have said, oh, well, Nick Bolton's gone. I don't think there was a scenario where both were being kept and they had to make the tough decision. I know Justin Reed was just on with Fesco and Dusty. Was that Monday or last Friday, maybe? Maybe it was last Friday.
I don't remember.
He was just on with them. And he was talking, his desire to stay. He loves Kansas City. I think he said in that interview he wants to still live in Kansas City, but it's the business side of it. And yes, Justin Reed has ties to the state of Louisiana as well. That's another reason why I'm sure New Orleans was attractive.
Also, I can't believe they can sign anyone to a contract at all. They've restructured 7,500 deals this offseason just to try to get under the cap by the time the free agency periods hit today. Are they under officially? I'm guessing they are. I'm guessing every team's under by now, right? Or do they have to make one more move? They can't get out of Derek Carr. They're stuck with their money.
I mean, they have to be under by 3, so they will be. I mean, the Saints will be. One way or the other, they'll find a way by 3 o'clock to be under.
That's always the funny part. You don't, we always talk about it, there is no choice. The choice is, be punished. I don't know what the punishment is, but I'm sure it's either draft pick compensation or large fines. As of right now, Spotrac has 3 teams that are still over the cap as it sits right now: Buffalo, Houston, and Indianapolis. They do have New Orleans just over at $2.5 million in cap space. So they do have some space. And look, Kansas City, it just depends on how you look at it. Right now, Kansas City is $28 million over. But they're estimating a lot of those contracts. They're not including the Trey Smith deal. The Chiefs probably have $5 to $10 million to spend right now in available cap space until they get something done with Trey Smith. But they had to. They had to move the amount of money they moved around, which we'll talk about more here in a little bit. They had to move the amount of money they moved around, or they would have they wouldn't even have enough to carry, because it's crazy. If they carry Trey Smith on the franchise tag, they're going to carry a full freight $19 million cap hit for Travis Kelce and a full freight, nearly $24 million cap hit on Trey Smith while still carrying one of Patrick Mahomes in the 40s?
That's why they converted Mahomes and Chris Jones and freed up $50 million in cap space. That was clearly the plan from the beginning of free agency. And then we know Trey Smith, they have until, I think it's July 15th, to get an extension done. Otherwise, he will be playing this season on the franchise tag. We know he's signed it. He's locked in that dollar amount for sure, no matter what happens, for his own security. But they have till mid-July, like we've been through this before with other players, mid-July to get a long-term extension done. And yeah, it doesn't sound like it's going to happen today now because of how they did these restructures. But I still, if you're asking me to predict, Cody, just a flat-out prediction, I don't think we're waiting till July 15th for an extension with Trey Smith.
No, I don't think so.
That would be pretty surprising to me, at least.
I don't think so. I mean, that's all the time they have to get it done, obviously. Part of it is there's no reason for Trey Smith because he's already signed his franchise tender. I would wait till every single if I was Trey Smith in this case. I think sometimes it's worth getting the security, especially as a 6th-round pick, with a diagnosed medical thing that pushed you down lower so you haven't really made the money. So I'd get locking it in, especially because he's made it clear he wants to stay in Kansas City long-term with his buddy, Creed Humphrey, with a team that he likes, with a team that goes to the Super Bowl every year. I might do it, but for a lot of the case, he can just wait till every guard is paid and then just be like, $1 more than the other guy, thanks. This is $1 million more a year than the other guy.
Coming up next, do you think there's a clear theme of how the offseason is going already for Kansas City? And Eric Hosmer was on the morning show today talking about Jack Caglione. We know nobody can get enough of Jack Caglione right now, so we're going to hear his thoughts on him coming up next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
This week, FanDuel is bringing you a Dog of the Day Profit Boost token. One of the best parts about the tourney is when an underdog takes down a powerhouse. And right now, those upsets can get even better because if your underdog bet wins, you'll land even more winnings with a profit boost. This is your chance to ride with the long shots. Plenty of them right now during conference tournament season. The scrappy teams, the ones that refuse to go quietly. And if you've been waiting to join FanDuel, there's no better time. The app is easy to use, and when you win, you'll get paid instantly. Just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to download America's #1 sportsbook today and back your Dog of the Day with a profit boost. Because after all, anything can happen in March. FanDuel is the official partner of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Wager of at least plus 100 odds required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Hey, Missouri sports fans, I've got good news. Underdog is available to play in your state. This basketball season, team up with your favorite stars and have a chance to win money from watching sports over at Underdog. From fast breaks to buzzer beaters to block parties, there's nothing as exciting as basketball. With Underdog, you can bring that excitement to wherever you watch. Playing on their app is as easy as choosing higher or lower on player stats like threes made, points, rebounds, and so much more. Get those selections right, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money. Millions of fans have won billions on Underdog. You gotta be next? Download the Underdog app and sign up now using that promo code TAP to unlock a special offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. Join in on the fun when you sign up with that promo code TAP. Claim your special offer today and you'll get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly upon your first deposit. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concern with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Inflation. Not only has Hy-Vee lowered prices all over the store, they also help me save a ton of money on gas. In fact, multiple times in the last few months, I've saved over $1 per gallon with Hy-Vee Fuel Savers. I love seeing the price on the pump drop dramatically each time I fill up. This Saturday and Sunday, save 30 cents per gallon on gas with every $60 you spend on groceries. Stack up the savings. The more you spend, the more you'll save on your next fill-up, only at Hy-Vee.
Hy-Vee's new fresh fried donuts are pure melt-in-your-mouth happiness with icing on top. Fresh out of the fryer every morning, you'll fall in love at first bite. Mix and match your favorite glazed donuts, donut holes, fritters, twists, cream-filled Long John, sprinkles, and gourmet delights. Pick up a dozen today. You'll be the hero of the morning meeting, queen of the book club, classroom parent of the year. Sweeten someone's day with decadent fresh fried donuts only from Hy-Vee.
What's up, guys? It's Drew. We just got done with the NFL Combine, looking ahead to the draft here in the month of April. These guys perform at the highest level and train to perform at the highest level as much as they can, trying to showcase their talent for all the NFL teams going from college to the pros. What if you could perform just as highly as those guys do without any training at all? I'm talking about Blue Chew. Your partner wants you to do whatever it takes to make your sex life better, and Blue Chew is your secret weapon for the bedroom or wherever you decide to get it on. Turn oh no into oh yes with Blue Chew. Blue Chew is an online prescription service. There's no visits to the doctor's office. There's no awkward conversations. There's no waiting in line at the pharmacy and taking all the time of the day just to get that prescription. It ships right to your door in a discreet package. Their licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredient and strength for your prescription. If you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, go to BlueChew.com and get your first month free when you use our promo code KFNZ at checkout. Just pay $5 for shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code KFNZ to receive your first month free. Then you'll be able to chew it and do it.
Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team take a unique approach that transforms the typical home selling experience from a mundane process of list and hope into a seamless transaction. Dawn is so confident in her ability to sell your home that she guarantees it will be sold. If your home does not sell by the agreed-upon date, she'll personally buy it. Contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. Visit them at homesforsaleInKC.com and start packing.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay, things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Lowe's knows that your business is built on speed and trust. That's why the Lowe's Pro Desk is here to get you what you need the moment you need it. We'll help you plan your project, calculate your materials, and pivot when your job takes an unexpected turn. And with our pro-only checkout and dedicated pro parking, you have what you need to tackle your job and be back on the job in no time. Just visit us at the Pro Desk. Lowe's knows pros. We help. You save.
It's Power Torque Tools DIY Days at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Lifetime guaranteed Power Torque professional hand tools only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Your life, your goals, your legacy. With a dedicated Fidelity advisor, it's all part of a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Visit fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
Go to 965thefan.com for the Fiery Hot Sevens contest, where you can win a $30 instant scratch ticket, and one person will win the grand prize, a Bobby Witt Jr. autographed jersey and framing, all thanks to our friends at the Kansas Lottery. Go check out 96.5 The Fan's Instagram page for videos, giveaways, and behind-the-scenes content. Your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
11 o'clock hour, we can gladly report the tornado sirens are working near our studio. Thank you for the test. We appreciate that. Very important. Mm-hmm.
But before we get into some more stuff as it relates to the Chiefs offseason, do you guys want a Desmond dating update?
We can get that real quick.
Drew can't wait.
I'm fully invested
and
in
a
this.
couple of listeners at the thing on Kelly's were like, hey, what's new? Said nothing new, you know? He had his gifted program day that always slows things down. All right, so there's a couple of things. One, I don't think she likes that he goes to the gifted program because they're separated for a whole day. He said that she goes out of her way to give him hugs before he leaves for the day.
All right.
Because they got to be separated for a little bit, and I don't think she's keen on it. Because on Monday, he said, I don't want to go to it today. I said, why? He's like, I don't know. Just like, I'm like, no. We're not skipping the thing that you're supposed to do just because we have to do this. But he comes home yesterday, and this is the update he gives me. He's like, again, always, good news, bad news. I said, okay, what do you got, man? He said, good news. I don't want to say her name, but like a different student. He said, she's not on to us anymore. I don't like that phrasing, I'll be honest. As in, they're trying to keep this thing on the low.
Yeah.
And one of these people, who is obviously keeping track of it, he thinks is not on to them anymore. Or at least they've decided as a group, is no longer monitoring the situation. He did say, however, he had a different friend tell the teacher, because they were using the boyfriend-girlfriend word again, even though we had said to maybe cool it on that. And that the teacher, again, had to be like, nah, man, boyfriends and girlfriends, that's not in kindergarten. And he said, okay. He said she wasn't mad, so it was much smaller. I don't even know where to start.
Has the teacher tried to talk to you yet about any of it?
Yeah, the first time with the kiss, yes. Yeah. And we have told him boyfriends and girlfriends don't exist in kindergarten. He's not budging. Mm-hmm. I have to say he's not budging. So, like, his class is this thing called Secret Student.
Okay.
Which is, it's just a way of, like, trying to get kindergartners to behave. She picks a secret student before school. They don't know who they are. And if they act like a first grader the whole day, they get like a little prize from the box and they get like a sticker.
Okay. All right.
And so Desmond's been like, he's been hoping to be named the secret student for a while. He's a very well-behaved kid. So he was finally selected. And he said, you know, she was so proud of me. She gave me like 5 hugs. I was like, oh my God.
Let's go. I think
I don't even know what to do at this point. I don't even know how to like slow this thing down. There's no slowing it down.
Is Desmond is in the phase, and Desmond's learning a lot already, way more than I would have known about this sort of stuff at that age. Definitely,
I don't know where he's getting it from.
But no, for him to lose interest in things, like as soon as it's like he loses interest in things that he actually enjoys doing because he's either thinking about her or he'd rather be with her. That's when you know he's full on in, he's down bad. When everything that Desmond loves to do normally, if he's like, nah, I don't know about that anymore. I'd rather do this. Then you know, okay, you're actually
changing behavior.
Oh yeah.
Like he seemed almost more excited about the congratulation hugs than being the secret student. You know, he should be proud. He acted like a first grader the entire day. Oh man! Now two different kids have ratted on him, and apparently a third person. He's trying to. Now it sounds like they're doing it in secret. They're out here in the shadows. Tough spot, man. Don't know how to help. Don't know what to do.
Coming up in about 15 minutes, we'll get to the trash of the day. We'll also get our first Big 12 scoreboard update in 30 minutes as the Big 12 tournament. Day 2 action begins with Iowa State and Cincinnati. You know there'll be plenty of Cyclone fans in Kansas City, and they will tip off their first game of the day coming up in just a bit at T-Mobile Center. But let's continue talking NFL, and we were mentioning some of the moves in the offseason yesterday and the restructuring of some deals today by the Chiefs to free up room before the league year officially starts at 3 o'clock this afternoon. You think there's a bit of a theme already happening with the offseason for the Chiefs?
I think it's fairly obvious. I think right now as it sits, and I'll ask a question that maybe follows up to see if you guys are on board with this. I think the offense is about I think the offseason is about crowning the offense on top again. We're not a defensive team anymore. And I don't mean that as in like they're not going to play defense. As in they have for 2 consecutive years with the number 1 quarterback in the league and one of the greatest offensive minds of NFL history been a defensive team. And I think this entire offseason is about recrowning the offense on top. We're fixing the offensive line. We're spending the money on Trey. We brought Hollywood back. We got 2 other really good wide receivers we love. I'm not going to be surprised if a wide receiver goes in one of their first 2 picks to go with it. I think they're probably signing another veteran wide receiver, even though I'm not as pushy that they need it. And I'm with you. I think in the 3rd round, they're probably taking it back. I think they want the offense to be leading the charge again going into 2025. And it's been a few years since we have said that about this team specifically.
I thought that was the case heading into the offseason, but I don't know if the moves they've made to this point have said that that's where they're heading. I mean, we just said that they brought back Nick Bolton a few days ago. They just brought in Christian Fulton a corner on a free agent deal. Yeah, they tagged Trey Smith. We think there's an extension, but Trey Smith has been part of this. Like, they also traded away Joe Thuney. So to me, it's a bit of a wash in terms of investment in the offense. And Elijah Mitchell's a flyer, no different than Samaje Perine in terms of the cost and investment.
Yeah, that's a low investment.
Bringing back Hollywood Brown, he was on the team last year. So I guess I'll push back a little bit. I agree. I would like that to be the way. I don't know if they've actually done that yet. I think they should reinvest in the offense more so than the defense, but I don't know if they've done that, and I don't know if that'll happen via the draft because we all know right this second the defensive line has some holes. I mean, it's Mike Dana, Chris Jones, Karlaftis, and Felix Anudike-Uzama. Turk Warren's in Carolina now. Charles Omenihu's who's still a free agent. I would still be very interested in bringing him back. And then in the draft, it's a very deep defensive line draft, so maybe they use their first-round pick at 31 on defensive line. Like, I actually think I don't know if their moves have told us they're actually doing what you and I both believe you think they're doing now, and I
think the offensive line. So they could have spent their free agency dollars on the defensive line first. They shored up left tackle. They paid Trey Smith. So they have their starting 5 offensive line before even starting in the NFL draft. I know they traded Thuney.
Yeah, I mean last year
they
thought
was
they
about
did this,
retaining the entire thing.
Yeah, last year they thought they did.
They didn't have any of their wide receivers though. Maybe it was about that last year. And we never got to see the fruits of the labor because they had Rashee Rice for 3 games and Hollywood Brown for 3 games.
Well, no, that's the thing. Like yeah, maybe last year they did. I thought you're saying that this offseason is about giving the crown back to the offense.
I think it is. I think that's why you bring back Hollywood Brown. I think that's why you make sure the offensive line is better than defensive line, which it is right now. And why I think that they'll spend. And look, some of it's incomplete, right? Because I'm telling you, I think they're getting a wide receiver and a running back in the draft, and they're signing a veteran. I think the beginning stages are there.
Yeah, well, they have to do it in the draft then, because otherwise I don't think we can say that there's been just a clear offensive reinvestment. It's I guess reinvestment's the right word. They're reinvesting in the exact same players. And then they drafted a tackle in the second round last year, and then this year they signed an offensive tackle to fill the exact same void. I don't know if there's been even any more investment in the offense compared to a year ago. Yes, like from an actual dollar standpoint, yes, there has been more. Like if we're just talking like truly dollars and cents, yes, there has been more of an offensive investment financially than last offseason. But unless they go and draft in the first 2 picks offensive players, then I would say it's pretty balanced in how they're going about it.
I think so far it's heavy, or it's not heavy, but it sides with the offense. And yeah, in a way, I am kind of factoring in the fact that I feel like they wanted to do this last year and started that process last year, and then it ended up getting shortfalled because of the fact that they didn't have their wide receivers like we had previously mentioned. I guess just as like a quick gut instinct for the two of you, and me too, but like quick gut instinct, which will be the better points per game unit on the Chiefs next year? Will they be a better points per game offense, or will they be a better points per game defense next year?
Yeah, I mean, the defense is usually...
This year, I guess it's 2025,
yeah,
whatever.
I hear you. Defense usually fluctuates more. It just does in the NFL. And as it currently sits...
Hasn't been for them lately.
Yeah, as it currently sits, I mean, to me, other than Chris Jones and Karlaftis, they don't have anybody else to get after the quarterback. And it wasn't good enough last year. So I would actually go back towards the offense. I also really like the Jalen Moore signing, so I'm more of a believer that that's going to work out. And
in terms of ranking, correct?
He's just talking points per game.
So let's say, ranked.
Yeah, so let's say they're 29 point something points per game on offense, and defense they're giving up 20. I'm just making up numbers, but you get the point. Which one's going to rank them higher? I think the offense will be slightly ranked higher than the defense next year for the first time in 3 years.
I think so too. And again, that they haven't actually been all that close, right? Like the defense has been like top 5 the last couple of years in points per game, and the offense has been like 12th. Like they're not running a close race lately. So there is a huge swing if you're saying one is going to finally surpass the other, because the defense has got to come down quite a bit, or the offense has got to come up quite a bit in order for that to be there. Maybe they'll be more equal for the first time in the longest time, and we'll be looking at a top 6 offense and a top 6 defense, but neither single-handedly makes the difference, right? Which I actually think would be good for the first time in a long time. I mean, I would appreciate seeing that for the first time in a long time, I guess I would say, even though it's been a long time. But I think the offense is going to be better. And that's partly because I think that they've been spending their assets there.
I don't want to say it depends on the first round pick, but if they invest in a defensive lineman in the first round, I think that it can. I think it can carry more weight in terms of what they're losing defensively. Like if Charles Omenihu does not sign, but they end up drafting an edge rusher, whoever the case is, or they draft Walter Nolan from Ole Miss, and it's an interior guy that can block up the run like they've been so good at, and then in the past as well. I think it'll be more even, but I still think I'm going to lean defense in terms of ranking higher. In terms of points per game allowed, I don't know if it's just because of the in Spags, I trust sort of thing, but I think for collectively as the unit, I think what they've done in the draft is they've gotten players who can replace and fill those holes where Justin Reed's not there. Jaden Hicks is the guy who's next man up, is comfortable with the system. It's not like he's going to be a rookie. And then you add in some of the other guys that they've had who are going to have to make plays. I feel trustworthy in Christian Fulton more than some of the other guys that they might have in the secondary. I feel like the defense will still be higher ranked.
The secondary at the corner spot could end up being better. I worry still about getting pressure on the quarterback as of right this second with what they currently have. And that's where you said, hey, if they draft a defensive lineman in the first round, maybe that changes. But as it sits right this second, I worry. Chris Jones, I still think he's going to be very impactful, but he is a year older by the time the season starts. Karlaftis, maybe has a new deal. If not, he's playing on a contract year, essentially, which is good news in terms of the motivation there. And then, who's on the opposite side right this second? It's Felix and DK Uzama. So not getting if you can't get pressure on the quarterback, which I would say as if it sits right this second, I would have serious doubt. That's a massive problem for your defense in terms of for the sake of this conversation, which is, hey, could the offense rank out better than the defense? But this is why the offseason's not done on March 12th. There's still some other free agent signings, and there probably is going to be a couple draft picks that end up having
this
an
is going to be interesting to come back to, like, even if it's like...
We can revisit after the draft because then we'll get a better sense.
Well, that and even if we look back at, in terms of just really following up, when it's like September or October, what's the trend in the first 5-6 weeks of the season and how things are going? Is the defense just that studly again? Is the offense a little bit slow getting out of the gate, or are they quick in terms of what they're able to do from week one as opposed to having things tail off or get going a little bit more later in the season? Of course, with the Rasheed suspension, that also factors in a little bit in why I said defense too.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's defensive line round one, then it's wide receiver, running back, guard with the next 3 picks, or running back, wide receiver, offensive lineman. I wouldn't be surprised if those are the next 3 selections directly after that. That's all.
We'll get to the trash of the day in just a couple of minutes. But earlier today on Fesco and Dusty, Eric Hosmer joined the guys along with Bobby Witt Jr. But Hos was talking not only about the comparison to the 14 and 15 team, but I don't know if there's a former player in the Royals organization that is more excited for Jack Caglione than Eric Hosmer. I don't know whether it was this morning, whether it's on his podcast he's done.
Yeah, he's
tweets.
pretty excited.
He is jacked up for Jack Caglione. There's no doubt. This is what he had to say about the knowledge and also recognizing eventually the pressure that Caglione will have whenever that day comes that he gets called up by the Royals.
Man, I got a good story from Moose being in spring training about this, and it's kind of similar and different because our situation, we were the group of guys that were going to come up and change it. So me, Moose, Salvi, we all felt that pressure together. I think having Bobby up there, having Salvi up there, there's no pressure on one guy to get up there and be that guy. He's going up there and he's fitting right in with Bobby. He's fitting right in with Vinny. All the stuff I've seen, and when I've gotten to talk to both of them, Vinny and him have a great relationship. Vinny's been great welcoming into spring training. That could have been a very awkward situation. But real quick with Cags, when he hit the homer in Chicago, Moose was out there and he was telling a story. It was it was 0-1. The runner was stealing. It was a changeup, hanging changeup, and Cags just let it go, let the guy get to second, and then boom, hit the home run the next pitch. And Moose got in the dugout, and he's like, Cags, why did you let that hanging changeup go by? What's the deal there? And he's like, well, I felt like I wanted to get the runner in scoring position there, set up the inning, there's no outs, and then get stuff going, blah, blah, blah. So Moose was super impressed, but I think those are the little things, like the physical power, the tools. We know he can hit. We know he's got power. Those are there, but when you see he knows how to play the game, I think that's the stuff that the Royals, Mitch, JJ want to see before calling him up to the big leagues.
I mean, look, I'm not excited about Jack Caglione, as you and I mentioned. I'm trying to temper my excitement.
But it sounds like he mentally and knowledge of the game might be ahead of the curve. Now, like he's a college player, so we're not talking about a high school kid coming out.
No, but that's what everyone keeps saying is that he thinks about the game in a good way.
Which is obviously part of the whole package that you got to have, and why, I think not just because of the power, as Haas said, but why he's having some success. in the limited at-bats from fall league to now in spring training. It's not just the power, but he's very smart in how he approaches his at-bats. It sure sounds like.
The last home run he hit, he was down 0-2, worked the count to 3-2, and then sent the ball to the moon. So it does seem like he's got a real professional at-bat approach. Again, the scouting report on him is he swings it a lot. Yeah. Like Salvi swings it a lot, right? He swings at pitches outside the zone, but he doesn't strike out a lot, considering that. My fear is that, like, maybe he's been able to avoid the strikeouts because college pitchers aren't good enough, or minor league pitchers aren't good enough, or fall league pitchers aren't good enough to strike you out when you're throwing a ball outside the zone. So, like, I still think he's going to have to, like, work on plate discipline and let some of those go. But if he's thinking like that, well, then what makes me think he can't eventually figure out how to lay off a pitch outside, you know?
Sure. And scouting reports, nobody's really doing that on him right now. So what happens when everybody's got all this film on you?
Yeah.
What's your adjustment to their adjustment on you? That's always the challenge. And that may not happen. We may not have that until he is in the majors. But I still go back. Ultimately, it's the positioning thing. You know, it's can he get comfortable and not be a liability in the field? And I know some of you are like, it doesn't matter. Well, it does if you want him on the big league club this year at some point, because barring an awful injury to two players that you don't want to have injured, Vinny
two of
and
your
Salvi,
most important players,
then there is no position for him right now, and there won't be. So if you're hoping to see him up this year, not only does he have to continue to hit in the minors, he's going to have to figure out how to play right field, and it sounds like that's not something that is even being worked on currently. So
it's being worked on in a practice setting, but it's
not in a game. Some patience.
I think the whole where he is in terms of the mindset of the game, isn't that what he talked about? I think it was with Vern, when Vern was asking him some questions like, what does he feel like he has to show the organization? He was like, I don't know if I have to really show them really much, but the way that I approach the game and the way that
I'm not overwhelmed.
Yeah, the way that I approach things, and I know what I'm doing. It's not just I'm just trying to get up and just rake. I'm trying to get up and I'm trying to understand, how do I get this runner to advance? Can I get him from first to third? It's not just I just try to get up there and just hit home runs.
We'll get to the Cheese Shred half hour here in about 10 minutes or so, but first, let's get to it.
Trash of the day.
We are headed to the Dover Police Department. According to
Dover, Delaware?
No, I thought so. Then I had to double check. It's actually according to New Hampshire State Police. Because, I was thinking Dover, Delaware. But I guess Dover, New Hampshire? I don't know. That's what it says in the story. So, there was a gentleman named Sean. And the name's important here, okay? There's a gentleman named Sean P. Weiner Sr. Sean.
Just change your name.
Sean.
You don't have to be Mr. Weiner for your entire life.
His middle initial is P?
Yes.
As well?
Sean P. Weiner Sr.
Man, that's just mean.
35-year-old. Okay? The name's important because we just mentioned it, but also at 3:15, they received several reports of a man causing an interruption on Route 16 in Dover. Multiple passing drivers reported that the man was naked and running or walking within the travel lane. So you had Sean Weiner naked, streaking at the scene of a crash. He fled. Troopers quickly located Weiner and took him into custody with the assistance of officers from the Dover Police Department. He was transported to an area hospital for treatment of minor injuries sustained in the crash. The preliminary investigation determined Weiner had been involved in a crash on Varney Road in Dover and left the scene of the crash on foot. The vehicle involved in the crash had been reported stolen shortly before. It also went on to say that Weiner discarded his clothing on the shoulder of the highway before crossing all the lanes.
So I need to give you a round of applause for reading the entire thing.
I'm smirking. If you're watching on video, I'm definitely.
He's not smirking.
Yeah.
I just there are really two options for me in this life. If your name is Sean P. Weiner,
that means there's a junior.
You got two choices. Your choices are change your name as soon as you turn 18 years old. Get out! Get out of the Weiner name business. I don't care if your family's embarrassed. You'll be like, but we come from a long line of Wieners. You're like, I don't care. I'm out. I'm not doing this. Anyone else? I'm ending this curse now, and it ends with me. Or never, ever, ever get caught with your pants down. You can't. You can't. You also cannot get caught with anything that is like a literal pants down situation. That's just an absolute
Weiner
no.
with the Weiner out. Not a good thing.
Yeah, because then it's just too obvious.
Sean P. Weiner Sr. I mean, it's
but as someone said, that means there's a Sean P. Weiner Jr. out there somewhere.
I think it's funnier because
too bad.
Because P Wiener Senior. It all just it flows in a certain type of way.
Yeah. The only reason why we picked this story is strictly because of the name, obviously, today. Otherwise, it's a typical, fleeing accident.
High in ayahuasca? Him and Aaron Rodgers kicking it?
It did not say if he was under the influence or anything. It just said stole a vehicle, or at least was driving a stolen vehicle, allegedly.
Stolen if he's driving one.
He discarded his clothing on the shoulder of the highway. It says Wiener was charged with indecent exposure and lewdness, reckless conduct, 2 counts of disorderly conduct, and littering. The littering charge. You got to watch out for that littering charge. In addition, let's see. They investigated the crash that preceded the incident on the highway, filed separate charges, and retained custody of Wiener.
I'll just, from a name perspective, it is better to be Sean P. Wiener Sr., because Sean P. Wiener Jr. on top of him.
Junior Wiener? Not good.
That's no good.
Not good.
That's no good?
Yeah, you don't want to.
That's no good?
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be a junior wiener. Nope, definitely don't.
Never, ever, ever get caught with your pants down.
That's right.
It's just good life advice, honestly.
So it says, what's the middle name P? It just says the letter P. That is a great question. All it said in the article was the middle name was the letter P.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder. Hold on. I wonder if they just Googled it, or they found out his middle name was Patrick or something, and they put P in there on purpose, or if he actually goes by if the middle initial is always pronounced like Stephen A. Smith, if it's Sean P. Wiener Sr., if it's always included in his name. That's something I feel like you wouldn't. It sounds like you would do something like that on purpose.
Have you guys seen the mugshot?
Oh no.
Of the gentleman?
No.
He definitely got his forehead pretty scraped up and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
Mm-hmm.
Forehead, you said.
Oh my gosh.
I said
oh
forehead.
My gosh.
Cody. I said
checking.
forehead. Come on.
checking.
Come on now. I'm looking at other articles to see if anybody referenced a different middle name, like other than the letter Drew, and every article says Sean P. Wiener Sr.
That means it's something. If you
how are you going to be stuck with that name your whole life?
He has
and
an
then
office.
Stick a junior.
He has an office, and his nameplate, Sean P. Wiener Sr. Like it's got to.
What if
be
you,
on
Cody?
everything.
You were a professor at UMKC. What if one of your students? Would you be able to keep a straight face the first time you went through the roll and you're like, we got Sean P. Wiener Sr.
I just say first names.
Sean. Yeah, Sean. We got a Sean Wiener.
Or in your case, they'd likely be a junior. That would be tough.
I mean, no, but I would not do that to a kid in college amongst his classmates. They're just burying that person,
All right, that's the trash of the day. Up next, Chiefs Red Half Hour will also sneak in a Big 12 scoreboard update as that game with Iowa State and Cincinnati is going to tip off in the next couple of minutes. But up next, the Chiefs did move some money around. What does this mean could happen later on today as well, the start of the league year? That's next on Cody and Gold.
You're listening to Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Josh Vernier joins the show every day at 12:45, live from spring training, right here on your home for Royals baseball, 96.5, The Fan.
If you've been noticing those signs of roof damage after the storms last week, last winter, don't delay. You want a no-pressure inspection? That's what Century Roofing is offering you. 35 years in Kansas City, over 30,000 roofs in Kansas City, and their trusted roofing experts will determine if enough damage exists to warrant filing a claim. Yeah, they know how to work with the insurance companies. They're going to take care of your needs, and they're going to make sure that you are taken care of, because 35 years in Kansas City stands to reason that that's the kind of company that you should trust. A lot of it is you'll get roofing people. Like something will happen this spring. So just put the number down now, put their name down now. Something will happen. We'll get these big storms. I think there's a storm on Friday coming. And you'll be like, someone will knock on your door and be like, I'll take care of it for you. Are they going to be back tomorrow? Are they going to be back in 2 years? Are they going to stand behind the warranty they're promising you? Well, Century Roofing will. That's why they've been celebrating 35 straight years and have been voted best in Johnson County for 3 straight years. So, trust the pillars of strength with KC-based and female-owned Century Roofing. Visit centuryroofingkc.com and book your inspection today.
Men, this is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. The one you love is the light of your life. And if you're like most of us, you want to do whatever you can to nurture your relationship. But if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction, you know the impacts the condition is likely having on you and your partner. ED is a relationship destroyer. It can contribute to depression, distancing, conflicts, and even breakups and divorce. And what's so disturbing about this is that most men who suffer with ED can be successfully treated, but a lot of guys don't seek treatment when they should. At Heartland Men's Health, we have protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases. In fact, if you're like most guys, you could be having great sex within a day or two of your first appointment, and maybe find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. So call Heartland Men's Health today. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices, Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
This week, FanDuel is bringing you a Dog of the Day Profit Boost token. One of the best parts about the tourney is when an underdog takes down a powerhouse. And right now, those upsets can get even better because if your underdog bet wins, you'll land even more winnings with a profit boost. This is your chance to ride with the long shots, the scrappy teams, the ones that refuse to go quietly. If you've been waiting to join FanDuel, there's no better time. The app's easy to use, and when you win, you'll get paid instantly. Just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to download America's #1 sportsbook today and back your dog of the day with a profit boost. Because after all, anything can happen in March. FanDuel is the official partner of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Wager of at least plus 100 odds required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Guys, I've got big news. I finally decided to lose some weight and improve my health. So I kicked off things with Awaken 180 weight loss. Look, before I dive into the details, I'll tell you what you really want to know. After just 1 week, I'm already down 8 pounds. I mean, I knew the results were going to be quick, but 8 pounds? I'd heard about the Awaken 180 at-home program, and the premise sold me immediately. This is the layout. Eat to lose weight, no meds, no gym, no calorie counting. Plus, once I reach my goal, I'll get free support for life, which was really important to me. And in the past 10 years, Awaken 180 has helped over 800,000 clients achieve exactly what they're doing for me right now. Look, I researched other programs, thought about the meds, but Awaken 180 stood out to me as the clear winner. I chose right. I'm down 8 pounds in just 1 week. There's just no way I can argue with the results, and I don't think you would either. 8 pounds is a lot. Look, my coach is amazing. I'm sleeping better. My energy is through the roof, which I'm warning you about now. If you want results like mine, schedule your Awaken 180 at-home consultation today. Go to awaken180weightloss.com.
Sometimes it feels like the world is moving at hyperspeed and you can't keep up because it's one thing then another. And don't forget the meeting and the yoga class and the dinner reservation. But then you get into the all-new Nissan Murano and you feel the breeze from the panoramic moonroof while the massaging seats melt away the tension of the day. And you realize that sometimes the greatest rush is not rushing at all. Shop the all-new Murano at nissanusa.com. Panoramic moonroof massaging leather appointed seats are available features.
This is the story of the one. He's responsible for keeping a leading healthcare facility clean and safe. And he trusts Grainger's high-quality HVAC cleaning and safety products, combined with their world-class supply chain, to consistently deliver, ensuring he's covered inside and out, so he can focus on keeping his facility clean to help protect the health of everyone inside. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, it's me, your USPS Ground Advantage shipment. Just left the warehouse and hitting the road.
I know. Just got the notification.
Great. Smooth sailing so far. I'm almost there.
Yes, I know. I get all the updates.
Made it. Safe and sound.
I know.
Well, did you know I was with USPS the whole time?
Oh, yeah. I know.
Keep your business in the know with the USPS Ground Advantage service. Visit USPS.com/in-the-know.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
This is the story of the one. He's responsible for keeping a leading healthcare facility clean and safe. And he trusts Grainger's high-quality HVAC cleaning and safety products, combined with their world-class supply chain, to consistently deliver, ensuring he's covered inside and out, so he can focus on keeping his facility clean to help protect the health of everyone inside. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The technicians you can trust with your house keys. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
Money-back guarantees and parts and labor warranties mean you're not just buying products, you're securing your investment. For a limited time, receive a free furnace when you purchase an AC. Schedule a complimentary proposal online at anthonyphce.com.
Opening day coverage is brought to you by Hollywood Casino. Stop by Hollywood Casino every Wednesday in March from 12 until 2 to register for your chance to win opening day tickets. Your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
We'll get to what's trending in about 25 minutes. Also a reminder, in the noon hour today, we'll head back out to Arizona, check in with our Royals insider, Josh Vernier. Did you see the Royals real quick? They announced later on in July after a game they will have a performance from Flo Rida.
Flo Rida, huh?
Yeah.
I'm familiar with Flo Rida's work.
A couple...
Very familiar with Flo Rida's work. Are you kidding?
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, we could have done something.
Oh, gosh. That's right. The battered onion rings. So, Flo Rida will be at Kauffman Stadium.
I bet it'll do low.
Of course. The Royals just announced this after the July 26th game. 42-time platinum selling artist. Flo Rida will perform. And
it's one of those guys you almost forget about.
Yeah, it'll be fans can watch the concert from the infield by purchasing a field pass. Otherwise, you can be in your seats. They've been doing this the last couple of years.
Yeah, they do.
I went to the 90s throwback one a couple of years ago when they had Vanilla Ice doing this.
Love that.
I don't know who it was last year. There was some country maybe act. I don't know who it was. I'm not sure
now.
But they've been doing this. A lot of teams have been doing that. So there you go. If you're looking for something else, another reason to go out to the K later on this summer, Flo Rida. Head on out there.
Okay, I'll keep in mind. You know, I'm not anti-stadium concert that's like silly and fun and after a game. You know, I guess how long did the Vanilla Ice one last? An hour?
No,
30 minutes.
I mean, I don't know the exact time. Maybe 30 to 40 minutes max.
I saw Lauryn Hill in that. They did one with her once after when I was the Royals insider, and I saw that one.
We'll have to ask Vern. He's got some history on some of this stuff, I'm sure.
He'll know.
Yeah.
We'll see if he likes Flo Rida or not.
Who doesn't like I mean, he's got 12 big-time hits. Who doesn't have one or two songs from Flo Rida that doesn't come to mind?
I don't know.
He's one of those artists whose song like you heard.
Oh, someone said Shaq did it last year. Thank you.
Oh, Shaq. Right.
DJ Diesel,
Shaq also did Power and Light.
He's going to be there this week.
Is he again?
Big 12's been hiring him the last couple of years. He'll be at P&L. Is it Friday night?
Always there.
I don't know if it's Friday night or whatever, but yes, he will be DJ Diesel.
I'm going to be going down to the Big 12 tournament.
So you can watch Shaq?
To watch these games. Well, no. So I did. Well, he was there last year. I didn't see Shaq perform, but Shaq was down courtside, and even from the press box way up top, you look down and you see how big of a human being he is, and you're like, my gosh, I can see it from here.
Well, yeah, he was in town too last year. It all coincided the same time frame, wasn't it? When because the airport opened up and he had the chicken place that's in the airport that he's a franchisee or owner. I don't know what it is. So that all coincided with each other. But let's get to some Chiefs football. The Chiefs moved some money around. You might have seen by now earlier today because they got to get under before the league year officially starts at 3:00. They restructured, converted some money in Mahomes and Chris Jones contracts. So it creates about $49.4 million in cap space. This is what is required to get under to allow you to have the Christian Fulton signing, the Jalen Moore signing, the Nick Bolton contract extension, to leave you some wiggle room as well for another signing or for draft pick capital that you have to have free come draft day at the end of April as well. This, like you said, kind of makes you think that the Trey Smith deal is going to take a little longer because otherwise that would have freed up 20, depending on how they structured it, could have freed
probably
up 15
to $18 million. Here's the problem. is that right now in cap space, most people project them between $5 and $10 million in available cap space, depending on the structure of Nick Bolton's deal and some of these others, with the likely estimates at Arrowhead Pride being like $8 million in cap space. You and I both know you need like 5 to 6 to sign a draft class, so I need $6 million in caps. Like, can they? Because everyone asks me, oh, they're moving all this money. What are they moving all this money? Who are they signing today? And I'm like, I don't think anyone. I got bad news. Until that Trey Smith deal is done, I don't know that there's like a move that's
I think there's
on
another
the imminent thing.
Some small
right
moves.
now, because they do have the like cap to contend with still, in my opinion. This allowed them to carry into the 3 o'clock league year Trey Smith's number and everyone else's number and Travis Kelce's number and everyone, so that they can kind of do this. But they still got to work out a long-term deal with Trey Smith. This tag, in my opinion, only works cap-wise where you're not to a detriment of the team building you want to do on the defensive line, unless you get a long-term deal done. And I don't want to miss out on all the defensive linemen free agents.
No, I still think let's say right now, after all this in these restructures, they have, let's call it $6 to $7 million in cap space. If there was a veteran defensive lineman they wanted to sign on a 1 or 2 year deal, I still think they could structure it to where they can still be under that. Without having to do the Trey Smith extension, whether we're talking about a Charles Omenihu signing or somebody else. Because the Joey Bosa signing yesterday in Buffalo, 1 year, what was it, $15 million roughly, or $10 million something? Was it 15 or 10? Sorry.
Who?
Joey Bosa.
12.
15.
What was it?
15. It was 15. I'm pretty sure.
This is why I was confused, because I was like, was it 12 or 15?
So many numbers.
Clearly, this is where we're getting. Khalil Mack signed for 1 for 15.
Bosa.
Was it 1 for
Joey
15?
Bosa was $18 million. I just read that one earlier. Oh, you know what? You were right. It was 12.6.
Okay. So, anyway, 12.6. Point being, I was just using it as an example because does that mean, like, if he's going for that and he's been hurt and he's older,
you think Omenihu's going for less?
I think Omenihu's going for less than we talked about yesterday.
How is he never going to get paid? He's a productive player when he plays. Joey Bosa could probably make that same argument, but he plays even less than Charles Omenihu somehow. And Charles Omenihu missed an entire season. So, like, it's hard to imagine. Now, look, I'm looking at Charles Omenihu. He's 27 years old. He'll be 28 by the time the season starts. He only played in 6 games last year, 11 the year before, 17 the year before that, 9, 6. Yeah. Then he was a full-time player.
Availability has been the problem, yeah.
Availability is a massive issue for him, and the sack numbers only started to kick up recently. He only has 19.5 career sacks. I'll point out that Turk Wharton only had 12.5 career sacks and just got $54 million. I'm having a hard time reading this free agency market sometimes versus did Joey Bosa take a discount because he wanted to win? Like, Joey Bosa's number felt low compared to the rest of the market. Like, that's where I'm kind of like trying to figure it out is he seems low compared to the market. Maybe the injury stuff, and he is 2 years older than Charles Omenihu. He's 29, but
yeah,
he'll be 30 by the time the season starts.
Some of it's that, and then, each player prioritizes things a little bit differently. We learned once again from the Myles Garrett situation that 99.9% of the time, it's whoever gives you the most money.
That's why Turk Wharton went to Carolina.
Right, and so that's some of it. But maybe some players are a little more likely to take, the opportunity to be on a competitor or a contender, I'm sorry. So that's part of it. Charles Omenihu, I think it's very clearly, Cody, it's as silly as it sounds because the league year technically hasn't started. When you get to Wednesday and soon to be Thursday and you haven't signed, you're part of the third wave, part of the fourth wave by next week. And the dollar amount for those guys just is usually not going to be all that crazy. So if you're wanting Omenihu back, another day goes by with him out without getting a deal somewhere else is great because that means the price is coming down.
Any chance that some of the numbers stay a little bit higher than they have been in recent years due to the fact that everybody has way more cap space and the things that we've talked about where there aren't a lot of good deals to be had? It's a bad year to have an infinite amount of cap, so you just kind of throw money at somebody that's front-loaded like hell to try to make your roster a little better. Especially guys like Charles Omenihu. It's not hard to make the argument that he would improve your team pretty significantly. I just don't know that a move is imminent. They've got some cap space. They're certainly under the number. They could sign a player depending on, and you're right, if Omenihu is a 2 for, let's just put it at the same average annual as Bosa. So 2 for 24, year one cap, it probably would be under that $7 to $10 million range. I told you the Chiefs might very well have in cap space. Probably close, right? So maybe they can still go get a player of his caliber. But the names are starting to come off the board a little bit. Most of the guys who are getting a huge chunk of money, to your point, or multiple years are probably doing that. But, man, I can't read the defensive line market. That's the truth. I didn't think Javon Kinlaw, who has been oft injured and the same age as Charles Omenihu, was going to get $45 million and 30 of which was guaranteed, but a minute he was only worth 12 on a one-year deal. But also, like, why did Bosa only get one for 12? I know he's 30, so he's not as young as Wharton and Kinlaw, but a minute he was only 27, so, like, I can't parse it. It seems like there's some guys, for the same reason I couldn't parse Hollywood Brown. Why did he only get 1 year? Did the Chiefs get a steal of a deal? He only got 1 year, $11 million. They had to go offer 2 more years to get Darius Slayton to go to the Giants? Like, stay with the Giants. He didn't even give him, like, a hometown discount. He didn't even, like, shave off 5%, man. He charged him full freight.
The draft could play a huge role in this. That sound, you guys know.
It's not the tornado. Sorry,
means,
guys.
yeah, today it's a Wednesday, but this is a mock draft sounder.
Yeah, not to be confused with the...
Anytime Drew hits the sounder, that means he has found us a brand new mock draft to discuss. Where are we going for this one?
We're going to Tankathon. Have not gone to Tankathon yet.
They tell us which. That's the site I use most frequently to know the order of the draft. So
for sure. And
I trust their knowledge there.
Good strength of schedule site, too. Yeah,
it is.
All right, so Tankathon has the Chiefs at 31 we're back to the offensive line train, boys. Ariante Ursary, offensive tackle from Minnesota, 6'6", 331.
Is that a new name? I've heard a lot of the different names that might go to offensive tackle. Is that a name that's come up before as one of the possible first-round guys?
On this show, there was a mock draft one time. I think it was a CBS mock that we did. Maybe one of the first ones that we did where Ariante Ursary's name came up.
They got Jackson Dart in this draft going to, it looks like, that Drew just sent us, to the Raiders in the second round.
So the position we said after Jalen Moore was signed, that they can still draft a tackle and there's not the pressure for him to come in as a day one starter. At pick 31, do I want tackle? Probably not as much, but I don't think it would be as crazy as it would seem, depending on your confidence in Jalen Moore ended up, being that guy. I'm curious to see if this trends in a different direction as we get closer to the draft. I mean, even in their own projection, and I think it's NFL Network, not Tankathon, but just in terms of the profile for this player, they project second to mid round. You're picking 31. I guess, is it a stretch? I'm not so sure. I don't know. They rank him as the 11th best tackle.
People value people differently, so maybe a little high on Tankathon, but maybe there's somebody you trust. Tell me about this guy they got in the third round. Who's Dylan Sampson? Is he any good?
Okay, so
that's the running back, right?
So, yes,
from Tennessee.
Dylan Sampson will be really good. That's where I was going to say the draft gets a little bit interesting because it is a 3-rounder. In the second round, they have him taking Omar Norman Lott from Tennessee, defensive lineman in that second round, a part of that really good Tennessee defense, the stout defensive line. Then they go edge again. Braden Swinson in the third round at 66. Helps form the defensive line a little bit more, kind of like we were talking about. And then it is that Dylan Sampson pick. He's 5'8", 200 pounds. Dylan Sampson was one of the best running backs in the country in terms of production last year. So, I mean, you could put Dylan Sampson in there, DJ Giddens, Devin Neal.
There's a lot of running back options in the middle rounds.
Ollie Gordon. There's a lot of guys in those middle rounds. Cam Scadaboo, if he's maybe available there, not exactly sure where.
So
Trevion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, a lot of good options.
I think people just like saying his name.
People like saying the name, and it's a name people recognize. And
because his name's fun.
He's a stud, but I don't know if that's the I actually think if we're doing a comp, he to me is Pacheco healthy, maybe better. Like what I'm saying is he's more of a bruising back, not the breakaway explosive back. I don't think he fits Kansas City. Somebody else will gladly draft him. I don't know if that's what the Chiefs need if Pacheco's back, which he's going to be. So I think Pacheco can be my bruising guy. Elijah Mitchell can be a spell third down back, and then the guy I draft can get a decent chunk of the carries and give me an option that can take a 10-yard carry from Pacheco and turn it into a 30-yard gain because he's got the speed. I don't know if that's Scadaboo.
Well, yeah, see, that to me, it makes even more than like Dylan Sampson is really good. His comparison from whoever his name is on Lance Zierlein, NFL Network, Brian Westbrook. Which bruiser?
We've seen not this again because guess who else was compared to Brian Westbrook when he was drafted?
Right. Although Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a great rookie year.
He's got a 1-year deal, I think, in New Orleans.
But I think in terms of what they need,
I did see that.
I think it would be better or more not beneficial. But you look at a guy like Trevion Henderson or Devin Neal in terms of big play potential. Dylan Edwards, and not in this draft, but a guy that can break a play open at a moment's notice. I think that's who you're talking about more, Gold. And maybe Trevion Henderson is a second rounder. I don't know if you'd feel comfortable with them taking a running back second round or if it doesn't matter post first round. Trevion Henderson would be a guy that could fit really well.
I prefer it in the third, but I'm not anti it in the second.
What do you guys think about second round, third round, third round pick, defensive
line and edge?
rush?
Yeah, based on the fact they haven't signed anybody on the defensive line yet, that's what I'd be doing too. Although this is yet another mock draft that has Luther Burden falling out of the first.
Yes.
The only thing that would kill me is they
mock.
take Irisay, they take this guy at 31, and Luther Burden goes at 35. I'm not going to like that. Burden, to me, is the guy, because I still think he's going like 17, so right now it's not really worthy of the conversation.
He's going to be Drew's new favorite player in Cincinnati.
But I still think he's going like 17 or 18 or 19 or something. Even more clear sign that they'd be trading Jamar Chase. They take a wide receiver.
No, actually, no. I think they don't value defense there. So
they're just all wide receivers.
Chase,
like
Higgins,
oops, all
Burrow.
berries for crunch berries.
Yeah,
So they're
Burden,
not interested in the
Chase,
hardy
Higgins, Burrow. That's all they need.
If they
and
drafted
Chase
Luther
Brown,
Burden,
you know?
they might be going for 40 points a game and just winning every game 35-31. And just
you mean
dealing with
losing
it.
every game 42-44?
Yeah, winning sounds better to me.
Yeah, but you're not winning based on the current structure. Defense is better. Well, defense matters. I'm not saying like you can't be an offensive team. I'm just saying
Great fantasy football team, you know? Great fantasy football team.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I don't know. I don't hate it from that perspective.
The tackle thing, by the time we get to draft day, depending on what the Chiefs have done on the defensive line.
First round picks that don't start.
Yeah,
It
they
was
should
interesting.
take a tackle in the draft still. Though.
Of course they should.
It was interesting because I tried to find a mock draft that didn't have them taking tackle that came out in the last couple of days. Tackles everywhere. I mean, it's tackles everywhere amidst the trading of Joe Thuney, amidst the signing as well of Jalen Moore. It's really interesting to see how, even though they've made some moves to solidify the offensive line structure, if they draft tackle, I guess so. But I get the point that you guys make, and I think everybody else does, of them taking a tackle in the first round doesn't make sense given some of the other needs that they have and also the depth of the positions. Maybe they say we can draft defensive line later. I don't
maybe. We will try to keep you up to date on everything happening in the Big 12 tournament. Our scoreboard updates are brought to you by Powell Exteriors KC for siding, windows, decks, and more. It has to be Powell Exteriors KC and powellkc.com. Right now, it looks like Iowa State out to an early, it was 17-11 lead right before they went to break. Under 12-minute timeout. Okay. So Iowa State out to the early lead. Here on this, what are you happy about? You got some money on Iowa State?
That's the pick. That's one of the picks of the day. We got to get right after Kansas State did not cover yesterday. And for whatever reason, Bobby Hurley at Arizona State, man.
They bailed on the end of that game.
K-State was 5.5-point favorites. They won by 5 points.
They were up by like 15
They were
at
up,
one point.
14 in the second half. They get a bad goaltend call late. And then Arizona State down 5, 15 seconds to go, 1-1 situation, right? And for whatever reason, Arizona State decided not to foul.
Why not?
Exactly, Cody.
Guys.
Like, are they just trying to catch a bus or something? They were clearly ready to go.
But no, we've got Iowa State today on one of the picks, along with Arkansas in the SEC tournament.
All-name team. Cincinnati's got a guy, Jizzle James.
Excuse me?
Jizzle James.
Is he related to Sean P. Wiener Jr. or Senior?
I don't think so, no.
No, okay, I didn't know.
Okay, noted. No, I
College
think it
always gives you some good names, man.
Aren't
For
you?
sure.
I'll be honest. We're here at work. We do not have a bad job. I'm not trying to pretend we do. Jealous of the people who are standing down there in Power and Light, waiting to go into the evening session, having a beer, and it's like 71 degrees
I'm
outside.
jealous, Cody. Yes.
Can we call this a half day?
Of course, I'm jealous.
If K-State had lost to Cincinnati, you and I would have had a half-hour-long show. We could have just been down there watching K-State play.
I just wish we were outside down in P&L right now doing the show. Outside when it's 70-something degrees.
Just right outside the arena.
That's what I want. But I went last night.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll talk more about this in the noon hour. We'll talk some more college hoops. But yeah, I went last night. It was fun. It felt good to be just, with those games when it's not your team playing, you're just you can have a conversation with someone next to you and you just kind of enjoy the game, right? And sweat out a bet.
You did say, I saw that, because I'm watching the game right now and you guys are as well, the court is better in person than on TV.
Really tried to defend it yesterday. He said he was making a statement.
The court is not good. It's
blinding.
blinding.
A statement. I might
in person,
good.
The color scheme in person, I'm totally good with. The design, you're still kind of like, what is this? But it doesn't bug your eyes the way
it's not a magic eye poster.
Yeah, on TV, you're just like, this is almost I can't even watch. In person, you don't get that feeling because you don't have a camera panning constantly left and right. But no, the Big 12 tournament. Somebody hit a half court shot last night. From a fan I'm talking about, to win. I think it was $6,600. The Phillips 66 thing they were doing. You had to make a layup, a 3-pointer, and a half-court shot. This guy nailed the layup and 3-pointer so quick he had like 35 seconds for half-court shots. So he probably got 6 of them up And I think hit one on the 6-1 was the loudest the building was last
Crowd
night.
went nuts.
Of course.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Text line really wants us to know that Jizzle James is Edgerrin James' son.
We must have
Drew's
got
probably too young. He doesn't even remember Edgerrin James, even though he grew up in Indiana.
We must have got 7 texts.
I know who Edgerrin James is.
We must have got 7 texts saying Jizzle James is Edgerrin James' son.
Is he really?
So you had, well, you know what? You can name your kid Jizzle if you've got like lifetime wealth. You know?
I mean, don't do that to your kid, though. Also, don't Google Jizzle trying to look up the kid's name. Good Lord.
From the war computer,
Good Lord. I was trying to look up the running back profile. That was not
Look
smart.
up the full name, maybe.
Okay, so his full name is
My God, dude.
No, his full name
was going to go.
I typed his
we have
full
to go
name.
to HR.
I typed his full name.
I'm being sexually harassed at work.
It's his full name.
His full name is Edgerrin James Jr. He is Edgerrin James' son. However, this is the thing.
You act like that was his name. That's his nickname.
Jizzle James is a nickname his dad gave him when he was called Little Jizzle.
Oh, my God.
That's what Edgerrin James called his son. There are so many better options.
Between this and the guy naming his kid a junior when his last name's a Wiener. It's like, what's with the naming of people here?
Edgerrin James is one of the best Colts running backs in their history.
We got it, text line.
Thank you, text line.
We got it.
Thank you.
He's Edgerrin James' son.
Appreciate it. 913-586-7965.
I didn't know that. I did not know that.
That's why I joked you were probably too young to remember who Edgerrin James was, you know?
Those Colts teams, by the way, we talked about it a little bit last week.
What about him, Drew? What about him?
Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Dallas Clark, Edgerrin James, Peyton Manning.
And yet you grew up there and weren't a Colts fan. I don't get it. You could have had that. That could have been your team.
Yeah, that is crazy.
In fairness, they only won 1 Super Bowl, so it's not like they
didn't versus the 0 Cincinnati has in their franchise.
Really? You're saying that's not good enough for the Cincinnati
they've
fan?
only won 1 if you got 0.
No, I understand that, but we're in the Bengals are now in the middle, are starting up what the Colts tried to do, or the Colts went and did all of it. The Saints, very similar, went and did all that, got all the talent around Drew Brees, they won 1. So at least they got 1.
You might still get 1.
I think people are a little bit underwhelmed in Indy still.
Text line. Coming up next.
Jizzle James, guys.
Coming up next, we're going to get to what's trending. And then let's talk more about what K-State did last night. They got another game tonight in the Big 12 tournament. Kansas taking on UCF. Missouri's got another day to wait. We'll also get into all 32 on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Have you or a loved one been diagnosed with cancer? You want the most knowledgeable physicians with the latest technology. That's KCPI, the Kansas City Proton Institute. KCPI has a full suite of the most advanced imaging and treatment technology necessary to localize high-intensity proton beams. That's a critical part of maximizing cure rates while minimizing recovery time and long-term side effects. Proton therapy provides patients with the most advanced form of radiation treatments for cancer. It destroys cancer cells with supreme accuracy, reducing the risk of harmful side effects. KCPI has Kansas City's first and only system that uses pencil beam technology, resulting in precision targeting and less radiation to your surrounding healthy tissue. Proton therapy is now available in the comfort of an office at KCPI, making it more efficient and affordable than a hospital. So contact KCPI for the most knowledgeable physicians with the latest technology. Don't wait. Get precision technology with the highest safety measures with KCPI. Online at kcpi.com.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and it's time to make a big deal out of nothing. Announcing Lee Summit Subaru's 0% event. 0, like in 0% financing. 0 is back. Up to 0% financing on select 2024 and 2025 Subaru models for 72 months. And we're 2024 Google's highest review rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. 0% event. The Subaru A Lot to Love event at Lee Summit Subaru.
Google highest review rated Subaru retailer in Kansas City based on Google Analytics.
Hey, it's Dick Ray. Why do they call us the heating, AC, and plumbing magician? We show up on time, diagnose and fix the problem quickly without breaking the bank. And now we have our own madness going on in March with our Dick Ray BOGO deal. Schedule a $99 AC tune-up by March 31st and receive your furnace tune-up next fall for free. Come on, sing it with me.
Call Dick Ray, he's your cooling magician. Dick Ray is
Honey, it's me, your wife. Spring is here, and our house desperately needs the experts at Powell Exteriors Casey for siding, windows, entry doors, beautiful decks, patio covers, roofs, and more. Get ready for summer at powellcasey.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-518-3899. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-518-3899. That's 800-518-3899. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
No one brings more care and expertise to your lawn and landscape than Ryan Lawn and Tree. Get your free lawn Instaquote in minutes at ryanlawn.com/spring. Sign up this month and take 50% off your first application with Ryan Lawn and Tree.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
This is the story of the one. He's responsible for keeping a leading healthcare facility clean and safe. And he trusts Grainger's high-quality HVAC cleaning and safety products, combined with their world-class supply chain, to consistently deliver, ensuring he's covered inside and out, so he can focus on keeping his facility clean to help protect the health of everyone inside. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Jefferson's Wings, Burgers, Oysters, located in Lenexa and North Kansas City, proud lunch partner of Cody and Gold.
Go to 965thefan.com for the Fiery Hot Sevens contest, where you can win a $30 instant scratch ticket, and one person will win the grand prize, a Bobby Witt Jr. autographed jersey and framing, all thanks to our friends at the Kansas Lottery. The Royals Roundtable with Michael Massey, Kyle Isbell, and Josh Vernier. Friday, March 28th, starting at 6 o'clock at Hollywood Casino. Your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Applied today at bakeru.edu. Number one, centers around the Chiefs, freeing up some cap space, right? League year starts at 3 o'clock this afternoon. You have to be under the cap, even though all these moves have been reported. Technically, they didn't have to be under yet. So what do? Reportedly, they open up $49 million in cap space by restructuring/converting some of Mahomes and Chris Jones deals. This was always the easiest move to free up some money. You know, we thought maybe Trey Smith extension would happen before, and that would be the way to do it. Trey Smith extension could still happen, but the immediate relief to get under is that Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones are getting some money converted into basically a bonus, right? And that's how they can take it away from the cap for a couple of years.
I mean, it's obviously the kind of move they had to make. They always knew this was in their back pocket. Maybe you don't have to move both of their money around. If the Trey Smith deal came together super, super, super fast, they don't typically come together that fast. They got till July 15th technically to work it out. But they got to pay their draft class too at some point, which usually costs between $5 and $7 million typically, depending on where and how many you draft. So like right now, they pretty much got just enough money to do that. Now that buys themselves time. They can just restructure something else. Next up on What's Trending, the Big 12 tourney today. Obviously, Iowa State and Cincinnati are underway right now. They currently hold a 22-13 edge on that in Colorado, West Virginia at 2 o'clock. And then we'll get a couple of locals tonight. Big night slate. Kansas State will take on Baylor at 6 o'clock, and Kansas and UCF will go at 8:30.
Yeah, this should be a really nice session tonight. That's why tickets are a little bit pricier than yesterday. Last night
you can get it for like $35.
Yeah, last night you could get in for $9 downstairs, $10 downstairs, 36 it looks like right now for upstairs seats, depending on the ticket broker that you're looking at. Still not all that bad. And the weather's gorgeous. They just did a live shot on the ESPN broadcast, just like aerial of Kansas City. Looks gorgeous here in KC. Going to be the case throughout the Big 12 tournament. Up next, unfortunate news in the sports world. Tiger Woods had surgery once again. You saw that yesterday for a ruptured Achilles. Happened on his own training. He obviously says that he's expected to make a full recovery. But if you were still holding out hope, like there are still a few of you like, oh, he's gonna one more major, one more. Come on.
I mean, I had stopped holding out hope for that.
But
after
there was
the
still somebody
Masters,
out there. I know there's still somebody out there. I'm with you. 2019.
He did say he hopes he can play in 2026.
Yeah, 2019 Masters was one of the coolest things. One of the coolest things to see.
Yeah, it was.
That is as good as it's ever going to get.
Song.
Yeah.
Next up on What's Trending, the Casey Curran have made a new signing, Flora Marta Lacho, to a free agent deal. She becomes the first Angolan player in NWSL history. They're just a few days before their opening match coming up on Saturday. Unfortunate weather, I'll say. It's like 75 today, 80 tomorrow, 75. Nice Saturday. During the game, it'll be like 40. 50.
Tell me about it, man.
Dang.
Tell me about it. I'm excited to go out there on Saturday, 11:45 game against Portland. And yes, the high is 50, and it's going to be windy. So the scarf that they hand out, definitely going to have to rock the scarf and the coat, the KC Curran scarf and everything for the game Saturday. That is what's trending here on Cody and Gold. Don't forget, coming up later on this month, the Royals Roundtable out at Hollywood Casino. Vern will have a Q&A with Michael Massey, Kyle Isbell, plus maybe one other Royals player. We'll see if we can announce that as we get closer to the event.
We're working.
That's right. Not us. We are not. Vern
that made it seem like we were working on
Vern and Speck are working it. But we'll have a meet and greet with those players for you guys and the entire 96.5 The Fan crew going to be out there. That's Friday, March 28th. That's the day after opening day. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And thinking of Vern, he's going to call in and join us here in about, 35 minutes or so.
Yeah, roughly.
And we'll check in with him from Surprise, Arizona. Let's talk some college basketball, though, because our Big 12 tournament coverage here on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by KRT Muscle Cream. A body in motion stays in motion with KRT Muscle Cream. We just acknowledge what's going on right now. That's Iowa State and Cincinnati. But last night, Kansas State got one win under their belt. They, of course, will have to have a miracle run through the Big 12 tournament to get in the NCAA tournament. The first half, they came out shooting the ball extremely well.
Coleman Hawkins looked incredible in that first half.
He was great.
Pretty much a double-double at half. I know it wasn't quite that, but it looked that way. He had like 20 whatever.
That was the kid. They just shot the ball so well, got some confidence. And maybe that's what they need heading into today's game. They're slight dogs to Baylor tonight. They'll, of course, have the home court, I should say, advantage in this one against Baylor. You and I yesterday said we thought they were going to win yesterday, and then tonight's the game where we wonder if they can get past it. Look, if Coleman Hawkins is playing like that, can they beat a team like Baylor? Yeah, I think there's a shot at that. I don't see them going past tonight if they were to get if they're past tonight's round. If they were to be fortunate enough, I don't see them getting to like a semifinal matchup or something like that. There were moments where there was some bad basketball played between Arizona State and Kansas State last night, what you would expect from a Tuesday night game at the Big 12 tournament. But the dream is still alive, right, for Kansas State, and that's where Jerome Tang had mentioned a couple of days ago, right? You take the one game at a time kind of approach in a tournament.
So lackluster against Arizona State.
Second half in particular.
That team didn't have their best player.
Yep.
They looked like they had quit on the season. Hell, they quit at the end of the game.
Thank you for the reminder.
They could have fouled and just walked. They didn't want to play basketball so bad. They got to the end of the game and they just walked out.
Yes, they did.
They didn't even try to extend the game. That was a team you only beat by 5? Like, I don't know.
Survive in advance, baby.
Look, I don't know. The offseason for Jerome Tang is going to be interesting because he's way too expensive to fire, and I don't think that those rumblings are going to be like everywhere throughout Manhattan. But he's going to be going into a year as the single biggest coach on the hot seat in the Big 12 if they just, again, go out again tonight. Now, I still think they got a chance to win tonight. I still like their matchup okay, but they're going to need Coleman Hawkins to do what he did last night again. Like, Coleman Hawkins has to drive the entire thing. They need him to be a star. They need him to be their best player every night for the remainder of the Big 12 tournament. But to your point, at least you're alive. I wasn't impressed by them last night, but at least you're alive. Yep. You held your own.
Then the late game tonight at Big 12 tournament at T-Mobile Center, KU and UCF. UCF got the win against Utah, and it was a 1-point game at halftime, and they just dominated the Utes in the second half. I think for Kansas' sake, better matchup. Like Utah
beat them earlier.
Utah beat them in Utah. They have some guys that are obviously capable of having success against them. I think Utah's dangerous compared to UCF. I understand UCF beat them, but I just matchup wise, what we're talking about, I think Kansas maybe is fortunate. If you were worried about a first round, or I guess it's the second round of the tournament now, but for Kansas, their first game and upset, way less worried about that tonight against UCF than I would have been against Utah. I think Kansas will win pretty comfortably tonight and then advance and play Arizona the next game. That's probably where we're headed for tomorrow night. But for Kansas, get your feet wet a little bit. Last time against UCF, they did not win by much at Allen Fieldhouse. And that was a game in which DeJuan Harris did not play, and their perimeter defense was just horrific. So my thought is that they'll have some better perimeter defense against UCF, who made, 14 threes in that game at Allen Fieldhouse where Kansas was fortunate enough to win?
Yeah, barely kind of struck it out. I guess back to, look, we both think that Kansas has the way better chance to go deeper in the Big 12 tournament. And we both know that they're a tournament team, no matter what happens in this Big 12 tournament. They lose today or tonight to UCF, won't make a difference. Really, it'll make a difference in their seeding, but it won't make a difference in their ability to get to
they're in the
NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
They just have a huge, like Kansas State for the same reason. If Kansas State went on a miracle run, they ended up being a 20-win team, won the Big 12 tournament, Coleman Hawkins is playing great, and they go on that run, I actually wouldn't think winning a first-round game, or maybe they'd be in the play-in round, would be crazy. Oh, no, you're not in the play-in.
Yeah, if you're an auto bid,
you're right. Never mind. I apologize. So, I don't think it'd be crazy to think they were going to win a game in there because the level of confidence you would get coming out of there, I just keep wondering the same thing. I thought McDaniel played okay last night, but it was really just Coleman Hawkins. And then they went on a 5-minute scoring drought in the second half and let Arizona State all the way back in. And if you're going to go that quiet on offense for that stretch of time, it's going to be a bit of a problem. Kansas, I think, has the biggest swing. Kansas and Missouri, I view them very similarly. And we'll talk more about Missouri tomorrow because they play tomorrow. But they both have the exact same thing where, they were both coming in to the last month just being Missouri's lost 3 or 4. Kansas coming in a little better into the Big 12 tournament because of the win against Arizona and a close one against Houston. But, if either of them goes on a deep run in their conference tournament, that's some good momentum going into tournament play, both of which I think these teams need. I'm determining part of how I predict them to do in the tournament based on how well they can hang up in this kind of tournament, because this is pretty much what every tournament team looks like. In the Big 12 and the SEC, these are pretty much all the teams you're facing in the first and the second round.
And yesterday, Brett Yormark, the commissioner of the Big 12, he had his media availability. He was talking about a lot of different things, including Kansas City hosting the tournament, reemphasizing that the deal is through 2031. But also, he mentioned he's an advocate for tournament expansion. And so what you're talking about are some of these teams, what do bubble teams look like? And if they were to expand to 76, which sounds like that's what's just going to happen at the end of the season, teams like Nebraska and Pitt would be getting in. And I don't know if you've been following it. My point being is
I have not been following Nebraska or Pitt.
Nebraska fell apart.
My point with that is you're letting in just a bunch of mediocre teams. Nebraska was a bubble team. And they lost their final 5 games. They didn't even make the Big Ten tournament.
Yep, they've fallen apart.
And we're saying that they should still be on the bubble with conference with tournament expansion. What a joke that is.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
This is why I don't want the tournament to expand. I think teams like that are 18, 19 win teams that are losing 4 or 5 in a row going in should not be making the NCAA tournament.
I know, but I don't think it should all just be about how you're playing going into it. Like Arkansas is winning now, but they're an 18, 19 win, been mediocre all year team because they're winning now. I gotta let them in.
Well, no,
it's only about winning now.
They beat 2 tournament teams here recently. That's. I'm not even.
I know, but like did Nebraska meet 2 tournament teams somewhere along the way?
No,
I don't know.
The point is, if the resume is the resume, then let them in. I'm saying that teams, as it sits right this second, in the conversation we're having about tournament expansion, the teams that are first 4 out, look at those teams and tell me if you're like, oh my gosh, we got to expand it to make sure they get in. I'm just saying they're a bunch of mediocre teams.
No,
they're not going to let the Drake fortunately won the Missouri Valley tournament on Sunday in St. Louis. If they would have lost, they would have been a 30-win team and on the bubble. Maybe not getting in. There's a good chance Drake would have been left out, but they would have let a Nebraska team in. I'm picking on Nebraska right now, but they're just using. There's my example, just because it's relevant.
Sure,
to the convo.
I guess like I don't view it quite the same as you. Like we got to just let these teams in versus we're letting them in. I don't know that they're any worse or better than Oklahoma, who is in the first 4 in, right? Like they're in the last 4 in right now on bracketology over on ESPN.
Right, but
they were
6-12
in the SEC and 19. Yeah, I just don't care if it's more. It's the same to me. It's a couple of extra games. All these teams are mediocre as hell. If anything, shrink it. If we want to reduce mediocre basketball, well, then let's get rid of some squads.
Well,
like
sure.
otherwise, we're just already accepting mediocre basketball. More of it's not offensive to me.
Yeah, I'm just dealing in like the reality. We know they're not shrinking the tournament, right? So like it's either staying the same or expanding. So I don't even bring that up as an option. Sure, if that was an actual option, I'm totally with you. Let's go ahead and lower it back down. But we know where this is trending. They're going to expand it to 78.
About? 8 games, so 4 more games. It's fine. 8 more mediocre teams. Sure. Yeah. There's already 15 or 20 mediocre teams in there. Yeah. What's another 8?
Yeah, you just know it doesn't stop there, though, right? You know that eventually we're talking about 90 teams getting in the next 5 to 10 years, and then it's like, let's do 120. And we had the former UMKC coach on 3 years ago on our show. I think he's now an assistant at Clemson. Donovan.
Oh, nice.
And I think he's still an assistant at Clemson. And he was saying that I think he thought 100 and something teams should get in, and he gave his reason. It was a strong pitch that he gave. He was the coach at UMKC at the time.
UMKC still wouldn't have made it.
Right. But he's saying like basically that many teams. Like that's where it gets crazy.
It doesn't create any unique matchups where, to your point, Gold, if you see, let's say Pitt plays, Pitt plays Cincinnati or
K-State. Yeah, because Cincinnati's a bubble team. They need those wins today, yeah.
But
probably not even a bubble team.
You could have seen that game in the middle of January already where it's not, 2 teams from a different conference, but in conference play, you could have seen Cincinnati play K-State. It's the exact same game that you're going to get in the NCAA tournament. You don't need to see it again.
So we'll see. It just sounds like from Brett Yormark that he's for it. Every commissioner we've heard speak publicly.
There's too many
for
people.
Of course the commissioners are in favor of it because they get more teams from their conference. Sure. And of course they're in favor of it.
No doubt. All right, guys, let's get to all 32. Let's transition to the NFL a little bit. Still no news on Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Everybody believes that's where he's going to ultimately end up, but right now he's in a bit of a holding pattern, and if you're the Steelers, normally you'd say, hey, you're being held hostage by Aaron Rodgers, but nobody else is out there stealing Russell Wilson from you, so I guess they really can wait. Like, it's not like if you wait on Rodgers and then he tells you no in a week, you're screwed. You just go to Russell Wilson.
He doesn't have another job anymore.
That's it. You are the Giants, I think we all know, it seems like, are more likely to go the draft route at this point, maybe bring in another type of veteran or something like that. But their only quarterback in New York is Tommy DeVito. No quarterback is on the roster in Pittsburgh right now. Like, not a single quarterback's under contract. But it's not as if, man, you're missing out on Justin Fields while waiting for Rodgers. Justin Fields already made his decision. So while it's annoying that Rodgers maybe hasn't told you yet, if you're Pittsburgh, I don't know if it really matters if he tells you today or in 3 days. I mean, he's probably your only option. Otherwise, it's going back to Russell Wilson.
Yeah, you wanted Justin, by all accounts, they wanted Justin Fields, but he chose $40 million in the New York Jets instead, and I can't say I blame him for that. But also, I don't understand how any of this works sometimes with people in their brain. It's like, you know what the expectation is, and then you're surprised by the outcome. This is who Aaron Rodgers is. If you're in the market for him, you do no research? I don't feel bad for you being held hostage by Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, that's what he does. He held the Jets franchise hostage for 2 years, and the Packers hostage for a stretch during the time at the end of his run. So yeah, sorry, that's life is dealing with Aaron Rodgers. You're only trying to squeeze out the one last drop of relevancy to his career anyway. They also should they never want to admit it, and the Steelers never will, because this is fundamentally who they not are as a franchise. No team is in desperate need as a reset of a young quarterback they could trust, and just a bad year so they could have good draft picks and spend their money differently. They need like a cleanse.
If you're Rodgers and you actually want to play next year, how is this not a pretty easy decision? If you don't take the Steelers job, you're either retiring or you're the backup in Minnesota. Like, what else are you considering? I know people are saying it's down to the Giants, Steelers, and Vikings. One of those is 100% a backup job. The other one maybe is a starting job. Talking about the Giants. That's
and maybe
it.
only till Cam Ward gets good enough that he's out of your way, I guess, based on that.
Yeah.
For my all 32, I was taking a look at free agency, and specifically the teams that over the last 5 years have been the biggest challengers to the Chiefs. That is the Bills, the Ravens, and the Bengals. And honestly, as I went through all three of those teams and the moves that they have made so far, underwhelmed. Now, I could rank them in the level of underwhelmed. Probably the Bengals being the least exciting of the free agency teams in there. The Bills are making moves, but none of them seem like they move the needle. Ooh, you brought in Bosa. It's the same as having an aging Von Miller, except for now you owe him full freight of the $12.5 million. Oh, you brought in Joshua Palmer. You just said your wide receivers aren't good enough. Joshua Palmer is going to solve that. I understand these teams have the draft, and the Ravens went with DeAndre Hopkins for $5 million. Just kind of underwhelmed. Like, I was looking at all three of those teams, and I don't think any of them have improved their team more than the Chiefs have improved their team. There's other teams in the AFC who have made a bigger jump. Right now, I don't think it's any of the teams the Chiefs fear the most.
Buffalo's living in the same kind of wide receiver market, that they have here recently. I think Von Miller and Bosa, as you do, is kind of a swap. Like, you let Von Miller go, you bring in Bosa, very similar player. Bosa is obviously younger than Von Miller now, but it's almost an identical contract. And you look at the production last year from both, identical production, despite the 3 or 4 year age difference. So, for them, I thought they were in play, and I guess they still could be, to trade for Trey Hendrickson. Or initially we thought trade for Myles Garrett, trade for DK Metcalf. They haven't done any of that. The only player left to trade for that they could for that scenario would be Hendrickson, because Garrett's staying in Cleveland, and we know DK is a Pittsburgh Steeler.
So speaking of quarterbacks, in regards to the conversation and free agent moves and all that stuff, the 49ers are not doing Brock Purdy any favors. These are the departures that they've had this offseason. They've traded Deebo Samuel. They cut Kyle Juszczyk, a number of players on defense, leaving in free agency Dre Greenlaw, Charvarius Ward, Huafunga, Jalen Moore, of course, to the Kansas City Chiefs, Elijah Mitchell to the Kansas City Chiefs. They're not helping Brock Purdy, even if they don't want to pay him the money. They're not helping him by surrounding him with talent that can help him be a more successful quarterback. If they think that there's still question marks on whether do we pay him or do we not, shouldn't they be surrounding him with more talent to, have more success? Or is this the ultimate test for Brock Purdy? And hey, we're going to move our pieces out to get this money out of the door. You need to show us that you're worth the contract that we want to pay you with who we're going to go with. No Deebo, no Juszczyk, or any of the other reliable weapons that you've had previously. They might trade Brandon Ayuk as well. Who knows?
Deep conspiracy is they're trying to make him look bad so that fans don't blame him when they don't give him the contract and they let him walk, Let's make him look as bad as possible. I think they're just cleaning house. I think they're paying the price that most teams do after being a competitive team for 5 consecutive years, and now they're cleaning house to try to reset their cap situation.
Right. They went on a run. They went to 2 Super Bowls during this run. Nothing to be ashamed of there. They came up short. They ran into the Chiefs both times, and now it's tough to continue that run past that, and they're getting rid of some guys that they don't like the contracts, but also a lot of these guys have had injury history too. Not Jalen Moore, but
Dre Greenlaw.
Greenlaw, and obviously Deebo has had injury history. So there's some guys that I wonder if they're just kind of sick of dealing with. Hey, you're not available for us. Let's just completely. I don't even say it's a full rebuild. It's a little bit of a reset there. If you keep your quarterback and you still have Kittle with Ayuk and McCaffrey, I don't know if we can call it a rebuild when you have those pieces still there, but it's definitely a retooling of the roster, and it's going to be a team that looks differently. I'll say this, though, other than the Rams, I still think the Niners are the second best team in that division. It's not like they're going to be in the bottom barrel of that division. I think the Rams are clearly the best team in the NFC West. But after that, Seattle has Sam Darnold, big question mark. And we just don't know what they already got rid of Metcalf and Lockett. And then the Cardinals, I just don't know what to think anymore about where they're going as a franchise.
Well, it's interesting, too, because I don't know where their pick situation is, but they gave up all those picks to get Trey Lance, which failed. Are the Niners even in a spot where, looking at what they have in draft capital, they get rid of all these guys, are they even able to actually make up for some of the
next
losses
year
that
when they get like 78
having,
comp picks apparently for every single player that signed a contract somewhere else.
The Chiefs picked up 2 more, right? So they got 8 picks. The Chiefs had extra 2 7th.
Right?
If they don't trade it away, we'll have a Mr. Irrelevant. Brett Veach, don't trade that one away. Yeah, Ryan Suckup at 09 draft. Don't trade it away. We want a little Mr. Irrelevant fun heading into training camp. You know,
we'd love to have him up there in August. You know,
keep that pick, please. Thank you,
and make it a player who can make the roster.
Who would you want that pick to be?
I don't know, Drew. Come on, man.
Hold on. Not player name.
Position.
Running back.
Yeah, running back or wide receiver would be fun too. Most likely it's going to be a backup lineman or something.
It's going to be your backup quarterback.
No, Andy likes veterans.
Punter. This is where I get my competition. Right. Punter.
I think the Chiefs.
That's what I want with Mr.
The Chiefs have shown
with Mr. Irrelevant.
The Chiefs have shown they like the veteran QB. Backup, so whether it's Carson Wentz coming back or somebody else, I would be, or Jameis Winston, right?
They should just pull a name out of a hat from Kansas, K-State, or Missouri. Just be like, you know what? This guy looks good to us.
Local kid?
Exactly.
Those are undrafted guys usually. They just say, we can do that. We can invite them to camp undrafted.
Yeah, they're around town. I don't have to pay them to get on a flight.
If you have the pick and you're not going to trade it, I'm convinced that the likelihood of the 7th round pick, if there's anybody, if your board is gone, if you have nobody left on your board, pick somebody who's local. Go for it. Make the kid's day his life.
He can say that he's drafted.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no different than signing a free agent. It depends on how much conversation, like the undrafted free agent.
Yeah.
It just kind of depends on how much. Normally with those picks, they take the guy that they think they're going to have some competition for in the undrafted free agency market anyway. That's traditionally what they do anyway.
Our buddy Lance on the text line actually threw out a name, which is unbelievable. Thank you, Lance, for the Mr. Relevant pick. A defensive tackle named
Nazir Stackhouse.
Sure. Yeah.
He does sound like a great defensive tackle name. Mm-hmm. And I'm pro drafting guys whose names match the position. Nazir Stackhouse is the defensive tackle. Right. Yeah, I like that.
Someone says draft a long snapper. Well, they just re-signed Winchester 1-year deals.
Only 1 year, though. Backup. Got to plan ahead.
A year in advance for the long snapper of the future.
Take a guess at where Stackhouse went.
Ooh.
You might be surprised.
Syracuse.
Ooh. Surprise is in like it's a bigger
like
school, or surprises is it D1?
Oh yes,
okay.
yes.
Ooh. Syracuse is still my answer.
I'll go
or Hawaii.
I'll go Fresno State.
He is not a Hawaii Rainbow Warrior. No, he's a Georgia Bulldog.
Oh, okay.
Should have guessed. Oh, he's Georgia.
Sitting behind the vast NFL prospects that they have on the line already.
Never heard of the guy in my life.
So he could be good because he's behind 17 first-round picks over the last 3 years.
That's what I'm saying.
Who the hell knows?
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
All right, up next, let's take a look at the AFC West a little bit. Some of the moves, including what the Broncos have done. We'll also head out to Arizona and check in with our Royals insider, Josh Fernier. We'll ask him about Cole Reagan's impressive performance.
Cody and Gold.
I didn't sleep well. I was drunk.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5, The Fan.
I love saving money, and Hy-Vee is always helping my family fight inflation. Not only has Hy-Vee lowered prices all over the store, they also help me save a ton of money on gas. In fact, multiple times in the last few months, I've saved over $1 per gallon with Hy-Vee fuel savers. I love seeing the price on the pump drop dramatically each time I fill up. This Saturday and Sunday, save 30 cents per gallon on gas with every $60 you spend on groceries. Stack up the savings. The more you spend, the more you'll save on your next fill-up, only at Hy-Vee.
Hy-Vee's new fresh fried donuts are pure melt-in-your-mouth happiness with icing on top. Fresh out of the fryer every morning, you'll fall in love at first bite. Mix and match your favorite glazed donuts, donut holes, fritters, twists, cream-filled Long John, sprinkles, and gourmet delights. Pick up a dozen today. You'll be the hero of the morning meeting, queen of the book club, classroom parent of the year. Sweeten someone's day with decadent fresh fried donuts only from Hy-Vee.
Look, if you're looking to make a change like I was, Awaken 180 Weight Loss can do that for you. Try to help you get to those goals. Look, my goal was 30 pounds. Your goal could be anywhere, 50, 40, 10. Awaken 180 Weight Loss can do that for you. You can call 844-346-1800 or go online to awaken180weightloss.com. But don't wait. I mean, really start thinking about these things if you're trying to think about, well, I need to lower my blood pressure. Maybe even to the doctor and they're telling you, hey, you got to lower the cholesterol, or they're worried you might be heading towards type 2 diabetes. All of those things can be possible, and you want one that is no medication, no gym, No calorie countings. I simply followed the program and have lost 12 pounds now in 2 weeks, thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. I just had my weigh-in yesterday. I'll give you an update again next Tuesday and let you know exactly where I am. Look, after reaching your goal, they also offer free support for life. So if you're worried, I don't want to be able to keep it off, well, they're willing to support you for life after you reach your goal, which will be a big thing and big for me in helping me make sure I keep that weight off. Go to awaken180weightloss.com or give them a call, 844-346-1800.
This is the story of the one. As a quality technician in a food processing center, she knows that making the right call is the best way to avoid a recall. That's why she trusts Grainger's world-class supply chain to deliver the high-quality supplies she needs to help keep her production line, her equipment, and her customers happy and healthy. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the A to Z savings event at AutoZone. What are you working on today?
Yeah, I need to change my oil. I want to get a full synthetic oil.
How about Pennzoil Platinum? It's the only oil made from natural gas.
Sounds great. How much for an oil filter?
Oh, that's free.
What?
The filter is free with the oil.
Free? Really?
Really, free. It's just part of our A to Z savings event at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Huge news. Right now at Wendy's, you can get a Son of Baconator for just $3. I don't think you understand this situation. The Son of Baconator is only $3 for a limited time. You know, smoked bacon, rich melted cheese. That Son of Baconator is only $3. Thank you to whoever wished upon that star. For bacon that just won't quit, gotta be Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii, not valid on a combo or on third-party delivery platforms.
This is the story of the one. As a quality technician in a food processing center, she knows that making the right call is the best way to avoid a recall. That's why she trusts Grainger's world-class supply chain to deliver the high-quality supplies she needs to help keep her production line, her equipment, and her customers happy and healthy. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Good morning, beat freaks. Who's ready to move? Let's start this day right.
Tasha's morning dance parties are meeting rave reviews.
Lose your phones and find your groove.
They need an ops manager to help their community dance the morning away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Opening day coverage is brought to you by Hollywood Casino. Stop by Hollywood Casino every Wednesday in March from 12 until 2 to register for your chance to win opening day tickets. Your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Basketball madness comes to KC for the NAIA Men's College Basketball Championship March 20th through the 25th at Municipal Auditorium. 16 teams, 15 games, one national champion. Bring the family for nonstop action, affordable tickets. Get yours today at NAIAHoops.com. We'll head out to Arizona here in about 8 minutes or so. Josh Vernier, Royals Insider, going to join us. I want to ask him about Cole Reagans, how impressive he has started to look. Also, a little bit more on just the infielders, taking a look at outfield in learning that as we talked with Jonathan India yesterday. We also had MJ Melendez on the show earlier. If you missed our convo with MJ Melendez, you'll hear that again coming up around 1:35 or so. It was good to find out the reasoning behind the switch with his stance and why it took this year to be the year for him to do that. And we also talked a little NFL with him. So that's coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. Hope you guys are having a good Wednesday. We'll get back to some Big 12 tournament updates as well. But looking at the AFC West and where these teams have gone this offseason, I think if you were, I don't want to hand out grades, but if you were to say, hey, who stood out in the AFC West outside of right here in Kansas City, I think the Broncos have to be the most impressive with how they've gone about their business to this point in time. Knowing that the draft is still ahead, but they go out and add Greenlaw to their linebacking room. They go out and add a safety piece from San Francisco, and we were joking about the name earlier. Tufunga or Tufunga?
Yeah.
We were butchering the name earlier. I just drew a blank. But
it was pretty close.
I'm
not going to try to make it better than that.
Yeah, so I think the 49er additions that they had actually to their defense already continue to bulk up what was a pretty good defensive team. Now, what are they going to do at wide receiver? Marvin Mims Jr., Cortland Sutton. Then they go and they bring in, Trent Sherfield from the Vikings. Okay, so are they going to add another?
You're going to get a real wide receiver?
Maybe in the draft, do they spend a premium pick on a wide receiver? But I actually think defensively, that defense is a problem for most teams.
It seems to me that they've accepted the fact that they have one of the league's best defenses, and they did last year. They have a great pass rush. They just got better on the defensive line, just got better in the secondary. And they're planning on trying to win games by a score of 21-17. And that's fine because they know that that's who they are. But I will say, when you got a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal, that's usually the time to find out that if you give them a stud or two wide receiver, if it can be worth it. And I still think they had the best offense. That should say something, by the way. The fact that I have 1,000 questions about what the hell they're going to do at wide receiver, and I still think out of the other AFC West teams, they were the ones who did the most catching up. I don't even know what the Chargers' plan is. Chargers didn't have a good pass rush last year. Matter of fact, it was quite bad. They have not improved it, fundamentally, in my opinion. They've signed a couple of defensive linemen. Nobody who is better or worse than the guys they had on the line last year. They didn't go out after the big names. They didn't go after Milton Williams or some of these other guys. And they had one of the top 5 largest amounts of cap space in the entire league. They haven't resolved some of their weaker wide receiver situations. Hell, Joshua Palmer just... Right. Or not, they didn't get Devontae Adams. Had maybe that deal come together, or they had added him instead of him being a Ram, I might feel different about their offseason. It doesn't feel like they've addressed anything. And the Raiders, it just felt like, we got Geno and a couple of players, and we feel better. And you're like, eh.
The Chargers, I wonder if this is where the Trey Hendrickson name comes up, because they were one of the teams that were linked to that potentially. Could they still pull off a trade? And then that feels different, when you're thinking about, do you want to overpay for free agents, or could you get a big trade like that from Cincy and add 17.5 sacks to your defensive line? Plus, the draft is still ahead. So I wonder where that's at. But yes, the Chargers didn't really do much to this point in time. And then the Raiders get a brand new quarterback. And yes, he's better than what they've had. You had Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. Pete Carroll brings stability to the organization. But the Raiders, to me, are still in the bottom barrel of this division. Nothing they've done this offseason has changed that. Are they going to be a laughingstock, a 3-4 win team anymore? I don't think so. But
I don't think they're any better than 6.
But are they most likely in the 6 to 7 range? If everything went perfect without knowing their draft, they're an 8 to 9 win team.
Yeah, if the draft also went perfect, as in just the miracle of all miracles happened, because they have good players. Max Crosby and Brock Bowers are really good players. I still think Geno Smith, who's not coming off a perfect year, is better than some people think at quarterback. So that is a significant upgrade at quarterback from what they had last year. Significant upgrade.
I think he's in the, let's call it the 12 to 16 range of quarterbacks in the league. And that's where I think Bo Nix is as well. That's what my point earlier. You can make a case Geno's still the worst quarterback in the league. You can argue, obviously, the Bo Nix side,
Bo Nix, obviously. But.
Sure. I think they're both in the 12 to 16 range. One guy's 35 or soon to be 35 years old, and the other guy's going into his second year as a pro and has maybe a little more room for growth, even though I still think Bo Nix's ceiling is low enough that you're not worried that all of a sudden the Broncos found the Josh Allen to compete with Patrick Mahomes. He's Derek Carr, maybe a little bit better. That's what in his prime. That's what Bo Nix to me will be ultimately as far as how he competes in this division.
Maybe there's still, but here's the thing: if there is some sort of hidden potential in Bo Nix, and you and I are wrong, and he's not Derek Carr in his prime, because I kind of agree with you that is his ceiling. I'm the 12th best quarterback in the league, but I played like the 7th best this year, and you're like, cool. That normally won't threaten Patrick Mahomes' legacy or winning divisions or the other stuff. Watch Derek Carr try to do it against Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes and really get nowhere as far as winning this division. But if you think that your ceiling is higher, and Denver has to think that based on drafting him and the way they got the rookie year, I still don't understand the weapons. Because you're right. There's always the draft. But sometimes I think people talk about the draft like whoever you're taking immediately starts and is a starter caliber player. Of the 7 guys the Raiders, or let's say the Broncos take this year, and I don't know how many picks they have. Let's just call it 7, and it's 1 per round. They'll be lucky if 3 are day 1 starters. And they're not guaranteed that it's the first round guy. The Chiefs have taken multiple first round guys who were not day 1 starters or are still just contributors. Sure, they've taken day 1 starters, but Xavier Worthy, it took him to week 8, and he was picked in the high 20s.
My guess is the Broncos will spend a premium pick on a wide receiver. Their room right now, and there's still some veteran. Let's not kid ourselves. There's still a couple veteran receivers that they could bring in. For sure. Cooper Kupp, for example, is still out there. But Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, Veal is Devon Veal, and then Troy Franklin and Lil Jordan Humphrey. Basically, that's the wide receiver room. So they're probably going to draft one fairly high.
Who has the worst? The Chiefs have the best. Who has the worst receiver group in the division? Chiefs have the best right now, based on everybody.
Receiver group, if we're not counting the tight ends?
No, including tight ends.
Because I was going to say the Raiders.
Pass catchers.
Chargers, maybe?
Lad McConkey's really good. They don't have anybody else outside of McConkey right this second.
But I guess I could say the same thing about Raiders. They've got Brock Bowers and then nobody else.
Yeah,
Bowers
is better than McConkey, though. If you're telling me who would I rather have, I'd rather have
Based on
Bowers.
positional, yeah.
But
that's fair. They put up probably similar numbers.
I think
I was just trying to think about
it. Be interesting to see who each one of these teams draft in particular.
Someone says I think are undervaluing Sutton. I think he's a good player. I think the Chiefs players have talked about how he's I think Trent McDuffie called him kind of an underrated player in the NFL. So I'm not saying he's not a good, but he's not. I don't know. He's like the 20th best receiver, 25th best receiver.
He turns 30.
And the other guys after that,
this will probably surprise
don't matter.
This will probably surprise you. He turns 30 this year.
Sutton?
Everybody acts like, oh my gosh, he's just one of the young up-and-coming receivers. He turns 30 this year.
No, we did that 5 years in a row with him.
Last year he had 1,000 yards. He's had 2 1,000-yard seasons. He's a nice receiver. Nice receiver. Yeah. He's not a star.
So he's Mike Williams, maybe? Mike Williams probably did better than that during his run.
Yeah, he has had 2 1,000-yard seasons in 7 years.
I'll say this. I think he's overvalued in Kansas City because they specifically struggle over the last couple of years with big-bodied wide receivers against their corners. So Sutton always looks like Justin Jefferson anytime he comes to town. Mm-hmm. Like, against the rest of the league, he's fine. He's one of 30 1,000-yard wide receivers in the NFL.
It is really interesting when you look at the rooms and you compare, like, the Raiders have Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers is fine. The Broncos have Cortland Sutton and Vele is fine. And the Chargers have Lad McConkey and Quentin Johnson is okay, but the rooms are very similar in they've got one guy who's decent, but nobody other than Brock Bowers. I mean, Cortland Sutton I think might scare you a little bit, but nobody other than Brock Bowers in the division should scare you if you're a Chiefs fan. I don't think there's nobody that you can pinpoint of saying this person scares me as an individual because we're going to have trouble covering him on a regular basis. Maybe Lad McConkey can turn into that, but there's nobody that really scares you to that point.
We'll talk to Josh Vernier in just a couple of minutes here on Cody and Gold. But let's get you a Big 12 scoreboard update brought to you by Powell Exteriors KC. For siding, windows, decks, and more, it has to be Powell Exteriors KC and PowellKC.com. Iowa State just made a shot, 39-29, currently with the lead. I think it's 17 minutes. No, that's
17. You're right.
17 minutes left to go here in the second half down there at Power and Light at the T-Mobile Center. Just made a layup, actually, as we speak. So now 41-29, currently up 12 on Cincinnati. That's the first slate. Colorado will kick off their game starting at 2. So only one game in action during ours.
Good.
Gold keeps telling us he's not going down to the Big 12 tournament today, but he'll talk himself into it by about 4 o'clock today.
I went last night.
No, 4 o'clock
I'm sweating out the Iowa State game right now. They've got a double-digit lead again, and then I'm keeping an SEC tournament. I got Arkansas. Arkansas has now opened up a 7-point lead, so we're very early in that game. But, yeah, I love conference tournaments. I love tournaments. Are just great. This is why next Thursday, when we're doing our show and the first games of the NCAA tournament are tipping off, It's going to be.
To bring in the extra TV again.
I am going to get the TV ready. It's a small TV I don't regularly use, so I got to go pull it out of storage and make sure we got the Fire Stick all up to date and everything. But I'll bring it in. We'll have it sitting right next to us.
Update some drivers. Make sure it's good to go.
That's right. Of course, we cannot wait for opening day as well. That's just a couple weeks away. Coming up later on this month out of Kauffman Stadium when the Guardians come to town, and our Royals insider Josh Vernier, I know, is getting ready to get back to KC from Surprise and get set for opening day. He joins us as our spring training coverage on 96.5. The Fan is brought to you by Park and Go, KC's premier airport parking destination. I know you're a Michigan guy, too, so you got to be getting excited for the tournament. Your Wolverines are having a way better year than anybody thought.
Yeah, certainly, although the end of the season has been disappointing. Goldman, I was sweating that one out with you last night. Oh, my gosh.
Brutal.
And then just listening to you there, that little clap you gave with the I love conference tournament is another way of saying I love the opportunity to gamble at noon.
Yeah, like gamble on something I care about at noon.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm with you. I'm right there with you, brother.
Hey, how did the rest of the day go? We had Vinny. He demanded to come on the show yesterday to make sure he was properly recognized as an NFL insider who breaks news. How'd the rest of today and yesterday go in the ego department?
Oh, well, no one's bringing Vinny down, and nor should they. Nothing new on the NFL front, but, man, the after career, and you guys brought this up to him about he's one of the top 5 men in Major League Baseball that people would want to start a podcast once he's all done. I mean, there are just so many avenues for this guy, and watching him on the practice field throughout this week, just the little jabs he'll throw out there to his buddies. I think I told you guys about the other day, Massey boots a ground ball in practice, in infield practice, and Vinny hits him with well, that's why you're a left fielder now. My favorite was, they're working on infield pop-ups and, whose call it is and, just things that might seem as if a big league club doesn't need to go through those type of things, but they do out here in spring training to make sure that they're right. So there's a pop-up on the infield, and Jonathan India is charging in after it, slips, and just goes ass over tea kettle, and it's silent at the diamond. Now, it didn't appear as if he was hurt, but it was just dead silent afterward, and all you hear is Vinny going, really? Nobody's going to laugh at that? No one's going to laugh at that? And then Bobby says he's the new guy. So I guess they're giving the new guy, Jonathan India, a little bit of leeway early on in the season. But eventually, you got to laugh when someone slips on the grass. And, he bit it hard, but he even came up with a little bit of smile. And finally, Vinny started to wear him out. So, listen, for as great as Salvi is out here showing the endless energy, staying on top of things as far as making sure the guys are bringing the right sort of focus and energy. Vinny does a great job of, Vinny's a pro's pro. He's not goofing around out here. But when the opportunity presents itself, he does have a pretty unique knack of keeping a game steeped in failure, keeping things light, which, man, every clubhouse would love to have someone like Vinny, and we're certainly lucky in Kansas City, and Cody and Gold very lucky to have such a great relationship with a guy that I think, as I've mentioned, has a really good chance of making his first All-Star team this season.
No doubt. That would be awesome to see, obviously, as we're talking to our Royals insider, Josh Vernier. What about the game yesterday? Cole Reagan's 4 innings, 5 strikeouts, 3 hits allowed, did have the walk, but not that anybody was worried about his previous outing, but still feels good anytime you see him do what he did.
Yeah, first time out, got beat up a little bit, and then last time against the Cubs, the fastball was just devastating. He brought that again yesterday out in Scottsdale against the Diamondbacks. Fastball getting up, 98, 99 pretty consistently. The slider looks, the slider, changeup, fastball. Throw in the cutter. It looks like a guy that once again is going to vie for a Cy Young. But the thing that stood out to me yesterday with Cole is, Cole Reagan is a guy that when you talk to him, you certainly he doesn't strike fear. He's just a very mild-mannered, polite young man that's always so willing to admit, I get nervous. not just nervous. He gets nervous like I did in high school. I wasn't good at sports, so I would get nervous that I was going to embarrass, my family name. I was going to embarrass my team.
I was the same way.
Cole Reagan, before spring training games, has to, try not to eat because he will regurgitate. He certainly could. He says, that's happened before. But what stood out to me is, a lot like Bobby Witt. And if you heard him earlier today with Fesco and Dusty, just a polite young man that is one of the greatest to do it in the world. You don't often see that fire inside of Bobby. I think it's maybe 2 or 3 times during a game or during his career that I've seen whatever it is that drives him every offseason, that allows him to, be one of the first at the ballpark. You don't see the fire very often. You know it's there, but he doesn't let it out very often. Same with Cole Reagan. Although yesterday in his 4th and final inning, his final pitch, a full count offering to who cares who the batter was, and it was called ball 4. And Cole Reagan taps his head to call for the challenge as he's already walking off the mound. He's halfway to the dugout as the challenge is shown on the board. It's ultimately overturned and called a strike. And right when the replay shows that it was in the strike zone, you saw that whatever that fire is inside of Cole Reagan's, because it was almost like a mic drop. He lifted up his left hand, dropped the ball while staring at the umpire, and then just marched off the field. It was the most swag I've seen from Cole Reagan's in his career. Again, the way that this guy, again, admits the nervousness, but also admits how frustrated he gets with a poor outing in spring training. That fire inside of Cole Reagan's that has allowed him to persevere through 2 Tommy Johns. Got a little glimpse of it yesterday. It's nice to see. I'm not going to say that I think he's a guy that feeds off of anger or nervousness, but every once in a while you'll see a little snippet of it, and it certainly came out on his final pitch of a very efficient 4 innings yesterday.
We talked about a more raucous 20s, Vern, so this is exact a reference. The guy who's like quiet, the quiet killer, that guy's always the way scarier dude.
Yeah, the guy that has the silencer on his gun. Yes.
Yeah, that's
the guy you want to stay away from.
How do you think about, as we kind of continue to progress through this, we're still looking for like third and short and left. And I know you've talked a little bit about how guys like Massey or India or even Caglione in like a practice setting have looked out of their normal positions. How do you think that that's looking right now?
Yeah, again, I think maybe I haven't done a great job of putting it into context, because when you guys ask about Michael Massey, man, he looks great in left field. Michael Garcia looks great in center. Again, I'm kind of grading them on a curve.
Sure.
I'm comparing them to where MJ was a few years ago. I'm acknowledging that these guys are learning a new position at the highest level in preparation to play the best of the best. I should admit, as yesterday, Michael Garcia made another start in center field and, made the plays. There was a ball that fell in between him and Renfroe and Massey in that Lorenzo Cain triangle behind second base. But the thing I do want to point out is, if you guys came out here, you would both be able to identify, all right, that guy's not normally a center fielder, that guy's not normally a left fielder, because they are still playing very deep. Right, and that's always a telltale sign of a guy that's not completely comfortable. You play deep, keep everything in front of you. Lorenzo Cain, you'll even see MJ Melendez now in comparison. They're playing more proper. The depth is more proper of what you would expect over the course of a regular season. And I don't believe we've seen Garcia, Massey, or India when playing the outfield truly drop it into gear, meaning there's the ball, let's go. There's still some timidness to their sprint to the ball, especially like yesterday, that play where it appeared as if Renfroe and Garcia were going to converge in right center field. You can tell that they're still they don't completely trust what their eyes are telling them just yet, and that is completely understandable, right? Guys that shortstop and second baseman, now moonlighting in the outfield. Could be exploited. I think a few balls, if they're out there, will fall in front of Massey and left that MJ would have caught. Balls will fall in front of Michael Garcia that Kyle Isbell would have caught. They're both fundamentally sound, but they're trust right now, trusting their eyes, trusting their work, confidence. I would say trust and confidence. Those two things are still lacking, and I think can only come with more and more experience.
Hot Stove show tomorrow night, unless I guess if K-State were to win tonight, then maybe there'd be a little conflict. But otherwise, what do you got planned? What do you got planned tomorrow night?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Maybe I'm not making a decision. Maybe they'll move the K-State game to a different slot. I don't know. I just know if they win, they will play tomorrow night. That's all.
Okay. All right. Well, good to know. Finally had a chance, like I mentioned, to sit down with Sam Long. We'll have that conversation. I'm hoping Kevin Biggio, a guy that I think is cementing his spot on that bench. And I'll see if Vinny has some time to maybe sit down. You guys always do such a great job with Vinny. I've never really had a chance to sit down in spring training and really chop it up with the pass squad. So hoping to get that opportunity as well tomorrow from 6 to 7.
There we go. Josh Vernier, our Royals insider. Appreciate it as always, man.
Thank you.
There you go. Vern joins us, our spring training coverage on 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by Park and Go, KC's premier airport parking destination. Yeah, if K-State were to get a little upset win tonight against Baylor, they would play again Thursday night at 6 o'clock as well. That's why, but I have no idea.
Kansas play tomorrow night if they win?
Yeah.
Man, we could have back-to-back night
6
sessions with both the locals. That's fun.
Gold, I don't know if you looked at the TV while you were
Yes, I did. Thank you. I was too busy being.
Was he trying to rub that in your face?
All right. It's all right. Here's the Iowa State is now.
It's early.
Iowa State with 13 and a half minutes to go is only up 5. They need to be up by 9. But I was also too busy taking great joy in the fact that Arkansas is up 17 at halftime. So that's a good. That's a very
on that one,
4.5. So that's a very good start to that one. Thank you.
The reason since he's closing the gap too, by the way,
is
Jizzle James has 17 points.
Does he?
Wait, for real?
Yeah.
Edgerrin James Jr.
Yes.
That's not on this show.
Jizzle James.
Little Jizzle.
He's got 7.
Whoa. You didn't have to add the little part in front of it.
That's what his dad called him.
Okay.
He's got 17,
Let's back up to 7. Let's calm down here. Iowa State's back up to 7.
He just played a bad defensive possession. He just got cooked.
Arkansas is destroying South Carolina, so I like that.
There you go.
Up next, guys, let's get to the 1 o'clock hour. I'm sure we'll have another Big 12 scoring update. Maybe we can sweat this one out together. Drew can give me more of a hard time when it comes to Iowa State in covering or not covering. Plus, we'll talk about the theme that Cody believes is happening this offseason.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
98 years. That's how long Overhead Door Company of Kansas City has been repairing and replacing garage doors. Locally owned and operated since 1927. Headquartered in Olathe. Always look for the iconic red ribbon of the genuine, the original Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. For same-day repair service 24/7, call Overhead Door Company of Kansas City, 816-221-0072. Or schedule online at OHDKC.com.
It's March matchup season at BetMGM. Ready to shoot your shot? Lock in your picks for this year's tournament with the sportsbook born in Vegas. Being on the sidelines is one thing. This March, get into the game with exciting state-of-the-art live tracking technology, exclusive sportsbook selections, and so much more. Check out BetMGM Originals for dozens of markets you won't find anywhere else. Take a shot at our exciting free-to-play games for your chance at scoring odds boost tokens, bonus bets, and many other prizes. Plus, new players can score up to $1,500 in bonus bets if their first bet loses. From the big dogs to the underdogs, March matchups at BetMGM is a player's best friend. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. First bet offers for new customers only. All other promotions for existing customers. Subject to eligibility requirements and rewards may vary. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and it's time to make a big deal out of nothing. Announcing Lee Summit Subaru's 0% event. Zero, like in 0% financing. Zero is back. Up to 0% financing on select 2024 and 2025 Subaru models for 72 months. And we're 2024 Google's highest review rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. 0% event. The Subaru A Lot to Love event at Lee Summit Subaru.
Google highest review rated Subaru retailer in Kansas City based on Google Analytics.
Hey, it's Dick Ray. Why do they call us the heating, AC, and plumbing magician? We show up on time, diagnose and fix the problem quickly without breaking the bank. And now we have our own madness going on in March with our Dick Ray BOGO deal. Schedule a $99 AC tune-up by March 31st and receive your furnace tune-up next fall for free. Come on, sing it with me.
Call Dick Ray, he's your cooling magician. Dick Ray, he's a man on a mission.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-838-1441. That's 800-838-1441. 800-838-1441.
I'm Brian Tedesco, CEO of Blaupunkt Americas, the pioneers of the car stereo. Today, we're not just about sound systems. We are revolutionizing the e-bike scene with Blue Dot Bike. Thanks to AmericanEagle.com, our online presence now features a dynamic e-commerce website that showcases the quality and affordability of our foldable e-bikes. And our collegiate e-bikes, just perfect for the college fanatic. These e-bikes offer a new way to experience freedom on two wheels, no matter your age. When we needed a top-notch website to match our cutting-edge e-bikes, we turned to AmericanEagle.com. They made the impossible seem easy, tackling digital challenges like pros. Check out the Blue Dot Bike website to see AmericanEagle.com's amazing work in action. Need the best in website and digital marketing solutions? AmericanEagle.com is your go-to. They've been a game changer for us, and they can be for you too. Visit AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW-1. That's 877-WEB-NOW-1.
What's up, guys? It's Drew. You know, maybe you're sitting here listening to Cody and Gold, and you're thinking, man, I need an energy boost, you know, some caffeine or something like that to get through the rest of my day and be able to perform. What if in the bedroom it was a similar thing and you needed some extra confidence to be able to perform when you need to? That's right. I'm talking about Blue Chew. Your partner wants you to do whatever it takes to make your sex life better, and Blue Chew is your secret weapon for the bedroom or wherever you decide to get it on. Blue Chew is an online prescription service where you get with their medical providers. They work with you to find the right ingredient and strength for your prescription. And if you don't like swallowing pills, that's no problem because Blue Chew's tablets are chewable. If you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, visit BlueChew.com and take advantage of our great offer and get your first month free when you use our promo code KFNZ at checkout. You just pay $5 in shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code KFNZ to receive your first month free. Then you'll be ready to chew it and do it.
This is the story of the one. As a quality technician in a food processing center, she knows that making the right call is the best way to avoid a recall. That's why she trusts Grainger's world-class supply chain to deliver the high-quality supplies she needs to help keep her production line, her equipment, and her customers happy and healthy. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, Gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Jefferson's Wings, Burgers, Oysters, located in Lenexa and North Kansas City. Proud lunch partner of Cody and Gold.
Go to 965thefan.com for the Fiery Hot Sevens contest, where you can win a $30 instant scratch ticket, and one person will win the grand prize, a Bobby Witt Jr. autographed jersey and framing, all thanks to our friends at the Kansas Lottery. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch all the shows from your phone, desktop, or tablet. Your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
1 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Beautiful day in Kansas City. You guys could also watch us on video stream, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, X. Be sure to subscribe. Makes it easy. That way you don't miss any of our show or Fesco and Dusty or The Drive. Right there, it'll be on the top of your YouTube page. So hit that old subscribe. There. I was close.
Just immediately, just
close.
They got them app. Yeah, I know you can hear it in your
Onion rings. Oh, gosh.
Not that one. I was going to do the real one. They got them apple bottom jeans.
Yeah, the onion rings. Cody ruined it. Turned into onion rings.
She hit the float. I think it did kind of.
Next thing you know.
It didn't ruin the song, but I will say.
It's hard to hear that song the same again.
Correct.
Yeah.
Anytime that I hear the songs that you've covered, I automatically think of the versions that you've done.
For those who don't know why Flow Rider was playing, it's because the Royals announced that for a future game this year, after the game in July, I believe it is, July 26th or 29th, they are going to have Flow Rider perform after the game. So he's like, there's one of their summer concerts they're having out there.
Okay.
That's why. Someone says fried onion rings sound really good all of a sudden. That's right.
They got them battered onion rings.
Dude, you go to a place like some places.
Perfect pours.
Not every onion ring is created equal, but there's some places that have some
yeah.
just incredible onion rings. I must say one of them, like Jack Stack, pretty damn good onion rings. Pretty darn good.
Blue Line, underrated onion ring. Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, I guess there's still one location. Winstead's, the 50-50 split. You get a little fry and onion ring.
I'm still a big fan. The only problem with the 50-50 at Winstead's is their fries were always so mediocre.
Yeah.
So the 50-50 felt like I was getting a good onion ring.
Yeah.
But I wanted both, but I was settling for a mediocre French fry.
Yeah, no, that's very true. There's still, I discovered somewhat nearby me, there's still one Winstead's. But the problem is, like a lot of places, they deal with staffing. So the staffing issues, so it takes forever. Forever.
Takes a
and the
while.
location is a little run down, but the food's still just as, like, it's the same. It's the same
You go
thing.
there and get your skyscraper?
I just get the double Winstead, man, with a little 50-50. It's been a little bit, but a couple months ago I went there for the first time in years.
If that person didn't want onion rings now,
Yeah, you're welcome.
Now,
You're welcome. All right, let's talk about the Chiefs offseason. You think there's a theme?
Yeah.
I'm not so as sold as you are that it's already happening.
Okay, so I'll admit that it's not like the completion of the plan isn't there, but I already see the writing on the wall. The Chiefs are setting up this entire offseason, and honestly, we're trying to set it up at the beginning of last offseason. They're done being defense first. They want to be an offensive-driven team. Doesn't mean they want to be bad on defense. That's certainly not the argument I'm making. And with Spags, I think there's a limitation for just how bad you'll be. With Spags and Chris Jones and Nick Bolton and Trent McDuffie, stars along parts of the defensive line, I don't think that you're going to be bad on defense. I think they're tired of being, and let's just be honest, a middling offensive team. For 2 straight years, that's what they've been. I think that's why they've spent a huge majority of their resources so far fixing the offensive line, and to be willing to trade, I think trade Joe Thuney so that they can be even better on the offensive line because they figured it's a 2-for-1. We trade Thuney and we get our left tackle and our right guard, and we'll take our chance on Kingsley or whoever else we draft in order to complete that. It's why they spent money on Hollywood Brown. It's why I think they'll go more offense in the draft than defense up ahead. I think there's a breaking point here where you can't have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and be the 12th ranked offense points per game every year.
Yeah, so they should be investing in offense, and there should be a shift. If you're going to say the last 2 off seasons, I'm with you. If you're saying what we've seen happen this offseason is a sign that they're shifting resources to offense, I don't know if I'm there with you. If you want,
they haven't spent much on defense yet. What have they spent on defense?
Yeah, but I also don't think there's, like, if we're just talking about dollars and cents, yes, they have spent more on offense this offseason than defense. That is absolutely true. When you have a tackle a tackle signing and a guard signing with Trey Smith franchise tag, I'm just saying you would have to lump in last year's offseason to show that they're in the middle of a 2-year shift towards offense. I can get on board with you for like the 2-year shift. So far,
because they were trying to start it last year and it fell short because no Rice, no Hollywood Brown.
In the last week, I don't know if they've done much to say like they're reinvesting or new assets, and they're like Hollywood Brown is back. He was on the team last year. Trey Smith is back. He was on the team last year. Joe Thuney's not on the team, and then they brought in Jalen Moore. So I don't think it's been there yet. The draft will decide ultimately how offensive heavy they're going the entire offseason. And do they sign another veteran defensive lineman? Because right this second, as much as we want them to go offense, at this second, the most pressing need, I think we all agree, is as it sits at 1 o'clock on March 12th, it is another guy to get after the quarterback in the defensive line.
But I wouldn't be surprised if the draft went defensive lineman first, offense. Line, wide receiver, running back.
Sure.
Like
very much could
another,
be that.
like line anywhere. Another tackle, another guard, a guy to compete with Kingsley, a guy who might be the tackle down the road. Like I wouldn't be stunned if it went that way. Now look, could a corner be in there instead? Sure. I do think that's the case, but I guess at this point, I'd be borderline stunned if inside that building there isn't a growing frustration that their offense isn't better.
Oh, sure.
We have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. This is why, like a week ago, when we were talking about like the free agent wide receivers, I'm like, I'm real close to saying it's time for a swing. Or why if they pick 31 took another wide receiver, I wouldn't be freaking out. It is time to get back. I'm not looking for 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards. I'm not crazy. But, like, it is time to be one of the league's premier offenses. There are too many things. You got Xavier Worthy, who was on pace for a 1,000-yard guy for the final 8 games of last year. Rasheed Rice, who looked like he was going to be a 1,400-yard guy when the season started last year. You still have your Hall of Fame tight end. You signed Hollywood Brown back for another year. Like, I think they're going to draft a running back to go with Pacheco.
They need to.
Pacheco, when healthy, is still a very effective back. We'll presume he's a little healthier to start the year this year. Like, you have the makings, in my opinion, just as long as your left tackle is not garbage. You have the makings of one of the 5 best offenses in the league, and I think that that's on purpose. I think they are trying to make this happen and stop just like. Sure hope Spags stops this guy this time because they've gotten to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row based on the defense alone almost.
No question.
Not alone, but you get it.
Yeah, no question. I agree with you. They need an explosive back in the draft. We're on the same page. I don't know in the last, again, this offseason only, if there's anything they've done that is like convinced me fully that they're just going to be worlds better. Now, can they be better just because offensive line play better? And so we say, hey, signing Jalen Moore alone is going to help with that. Sure. But the wide receiver room, as of this second, they added Hollywood Brown and they've lost a couple pieces. They haven't added anybody new. Rice still might be suspended. Travis Kelce is back. He's a year older. And they added Elijah Mitchell. That's all that. So I think the draft will be the only way, unless there's a surprise signing coming soon, where I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, they have completely just revamped the offense and they're younger and more explosive. That's going to have to come in the draft because as of right this second, they have not got younger and more explosive. They got younger on the old line by trading away Joe Thuney, sure.
Yeah, they're 27 or under there.
But as far as like a more explosive offense, unless we're just banking on it's going to naturally
happen. They're more explosive by the fact that those guys are on the field.
If Hollywood Brown is on the field week 1 and still on the field week 7, if Rice is on the field by week 7, like then we're talking. But yeah, they will draft. I think we both would be stunned if a running back and a wide receiver are not drafted in the first 5 rounds. I would be shocked.
Yeah, wide receiver, depending on what they do for the rest of the free agency thing. Look, they signed, I saw MVS got 1 for $5.5 million. I only mentioned them because it's a name but like that level of wide receiver, they might go out and do that. Look, I'm not calling for them to go get Cooper Kupp. They got enough guys who might not be on the field by week 7 or before week 7.
Unless the market is horrific, I have no interest in Cooper Kupp. It would have to be on a 1-year deal for $4 or $5 million, and he's going to get more than that.
He is the perfect wide receiver, in my opinion, to bring in for a young quarterback to give him the ultimate professional wide receiver. No, like if I were any team, like if I were Chicago, Washington, like if I had a Patriots, if I had a young quarterback on a rookie deal, and if he's healthy, I want him to have one of the most professional wide receivers in the NFL, that'd be my signing. For the Chiefs, not really.
So Robert Tunyon's chopped liver, huh? Yeah, not going to really make him more explosive.
That's the same as signing Irv Smith. I don't care if they sign Robert Tonyan.
It really is very similar, and I believe Robert Tonyan was on the they brought him in late in the season also temporarily at one point.
The Chiefs did?
I think so. If you go back and look, I think he got signed late in the year and then got cut or a practice squad. There's something happened there. But yeah, right now the tight end room is Kelsey, Gray, Robert Tonyan, and then Wiley, who of course has come back from an injury. There's your 4 tight ends, unless I'm missing somebody else, heading into training camp when we're up in St. Joe. Cool. And if Wiley shows he's healthy and all that, then there's a chance that Robert Tonyan just gets cut in camp.
Yeah, maybe they slow walk his injury and Wiley
could start on the pup list and all that.
He gets the pup list and Tonyan's the 3rd guy for a little while. But yeah, I'm not going to get excited about the 3rd or 4th tight end.
Random question.
Love to in March. Get excited about 3rd tight ends, 4th tight ends, but
big time.
Not today.
Let's talk about long snappers while we're at
it. Whatever. The random question of the day is brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Results every week and then receive free support for life. Online at awaken180weightloss.com. For you, Gold. For you, Drew. Text line 913-586-7965. I want to make this specifically about places you went out to eat or fast food items in which you got, not so much at home meals, because I was in this conversation with someone the other day. So the question I have for you today is, what is something or a place, really is what I'm asking. What is a place that you ate a lot out as a kid and now you can't stand? Like, you ate at this place, you got this item, it's not on the list. I'll give you my example while you think of your answers, because a lot of times I spring this on them. So we'll take your answers, 913-586-7965, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. I'll read some of your answers over there as well. Mine, Subway. Get it out of here.
Oh, that's a good answer.
Get that cardboard bread
They
out
put
of
you
my
up in a
face.
blimp. How dare you? You were in a blimp. You were in a blimp with a Subway sandwich on it.
It's true. I was in the Subway.
That's facts.
But, dude, when I was like 14, 15, 16, $5 footlong sub.
Oh, in high school, dude. Had it all the time.
$5 footlongs constantly.
All the time.
Consistently. Now that I've had what I would call a real sub sandwich,
right.
The quality.
That's a good answer.
The quality difference.
That is a good answer.
Between that and I could just go to M&M Bakery or a million other places. I'd rather go to Firehouse. If I could just go to a place that I think provides a better sub, I'm never sitting around being what have we got Subway tonight? Ever. It's never a suggestion.
That's a good answer, because I think a lot of people feel the same way. There's a lot of other options now. Back then, too, remember, there wasn't a ton of even national, regional sandwich places, Good Sense has been around forever. I think Good Sense is way better anyway than Subway as well.
Golden Corral being mentioned over on Twitch.
That's
a possible answer. Long John Silver's.
So Long John Silver's, you're like, why would this be your answer? You don't eat seafood. But that actually was one that was one of them being considered, because as a kid, I liked going there and getting, I think it was the L6, which was the 2 chicken planks with the fries and a hush puppy.
Okay.
I haven't been in. Are they still around?
Yeah,
Long John Silver's?
There's none by me anymore. They closed it down. It's now a Hawaiian food place.
I drive by at least what would be the building of a Long John Silver's. I've never seen how much business they're doing.
Okay.
When I take,
I used to love getting the. I think it was the L6.
The L6.
The 2 chicken planks. Yeah, I think it was the L6.
Cody, you're the jacket color that you have on, the Royal Store by color. If you slapped the Long John Silver's patch on the side, it actually would fit very well.
It is the color scheme.
Definitely.
What do you have, Drew?
Some people mentioning Taco Bell.
Oh, I still go there way too much, honestly.
I eat Taco
That's
Bell.
a frequent for you.
But I can understand. I don't. It doesn't hit the same. I think Subway is the same. Somebody else said, out to eat, you must have been rich. No, like a McChicken used to be $1 when we were a proper country, not $3.50.
Oh, it was we went.
Is it up to $3.50 for a McChicken? That seems high.
It might be $3.29.
Oh, I thought it was still. Maybe I'm way off. I thought it was $2.80. But
I'd have to look.
Maybe I'm way off.
Still.
I will say
that's almost 300% increase.
We didn't go out to eat very often. Subway was a treat for us if my parents were paying. Eventually, I just was 14. I had a full-time job and I paid for my stuff.
The people
I wasn't trying to feed 7 kids.
The people mentioning Golden Corral, I think the last time I went to a Golden Corral was maybe in 6th grade. It's been ages.
It's been a very long time for myself.
Well, I went to I will say one place I frequented in the city the entire time. That same time, that ranged from 14 to 19 when I was with a licensed driver. We got paid every Friday from the concession stand. They paid us $10 an hour cash. We spent hours and hours and hours at Perkins. And
Perkins,
I haven't been. Well, they'd be open we get down to the concession stand at 10:30 at night.
You and Tiger Woods, man. You and Tiger Woods.
We get down to the concession stand at 10:30. And you could be at Perkins at 11 o'clock. We'd take turns on who picked up the whole tab between the 3 of us. who would regularly go, dude, I'd be there till 2 a.m. at Perkins.
I don't know if there's a place that
and I haven't been to a Perkins probably since I was 20.
I don't think there's a place that I can't stand. It's just it's fallen off more than
there's
anything
got to
else.
be
I just
like
don't
maybe
go.
the food quality. You just don't go like Perkins. I don't know if the food quality is good or not. I haven't been in a billion years.
So like for
A lot of people saying Pizza Hut. I do
Pizza
think
Hut
as a
has
kid we
fallen
used to think that was so good.
But
Domino's was the one, like the Dominator and all that stuff we got as kids.
But if you were to have Pizza Hut Gold, I don't know if you were like, I'm not going to eat this. Where I think some people for your question, Cody, that's what it sounds like. Of if you put a plate of pizza from Pizza Hut in front of me,
I'd probably still eat it.
I probably would still eat it.
I would still eat it. I'm just not going there. I would still eat it if it was in the office right now, and then during the break there was some slices of pepperoni pizza.
Pizza's pizza.
Pizza is pizza for the most part. There's obviously just
the one I haven't been to since I was in high school was Godfather's. Was there any of those near you?
Yeah, absolutely.
There still is a Godfather's near me. It's the exact same one I used to go to when I was a teenager. And again, for all I know, the pizza quality is fine. I just haven't gone there since I was a high schooler.
There's a Godfather's out in Indy, actually.
Somebody's mentioning Fur's Cafeteria, which is a Northland one. It was like
I'm not familiar with that.
You wouldn't. It's a standalone. It hasn't existed in 15 or 20 years.
Someone mentioned, and I don't know if they have these anymore. Bob Evans. I used to get breakfast there as a kid. Occasionally.
Oh, okay.
Bob Evans is.
They don't have any around.
We didn't go to restaurant.
I think they're starting to go out of business. There's one.
I don't know if they're around.
Bob Evans.
I believe Bob Evans has been going out for a little bit. I think it's been a little while. Yeah.
COVID get him?
No, way before then.
Oh,
at least the location.
before then?
The location that I used to go to has not been around probably for at least 15 years.
Okay. Somebody from the 816 said McDonald's hash browns were $2.50. I don't know which one you're going to, but I got 2 hash browns this morning for like $1.25 or $1.50.
Okay.
No way, dude. Wait. Are you using the app or something?
The app does give you
because
the
this
discount.
guy
app gives it to you for free.
I'll just say that this guy's not lying. Hash browns really are $2-3. I think you just buy them.
Maybe I didn't realize it this morning.
Use the app, man. I will
truth.
say, if you use the app, there's plenty of discounts on there.
Somebody mentioned Hardee's. That's a place that I haven't had in a long time that we used to go to. Like after there was one that was over by the church that you used to go to growing up there. We would go to Hardee's afterwards just because it's proximity. Same thing with Arby's. I think Arby's is actually pretty good.
Curly fries are good. That's where I'll leave it at the curly fries.
But I haven't had Arby's in a long time. Haven't had Hardee's in forever.
Yeah, Hardee's, out of all the chains, probably the one I frequent the least.
Somebody said Panda Express. Dang, that's tough.
I like real Chinese food.
Panda Express for what it is.
Fine.
For what it is, it's fine. I don't go there very often, but for what it is, it's fine. I'm sorry. I'm sweating out. Okay, I'm sweating out this bet. Okay,
how much time's left in this game? Let's do a score update.
Can we get a Big 12 score update?
Yeah, I think that's fine. We can do a score update. Of course, our score updates over here are brought to you by Powell Exteriors KC for siding, windows, decks, and more. It has to be Powell Exteriors KC and powellkc.com.
Yeah, Iowa State.
They're going to commercial, of course.
65.
So now I can't see the score.
I got you. 65-56. Cyclone lead. 3.5 minutes to go.
So you're up by 9.
Right yeah,
you
sweating.
are technically covering your bet by 1/2 of a point at the moment.
We are sweating. Now, in the other game, Arkansas, 4.5-point favorite. They're up 57-41 with 14 minutes to go. So at least Arkansas is up 16. So that one's looking strong. The Cyclone one, we're sweating. We're sweating.
That one's
if you follow our social media channels, we're doing a pick of the day throughout the month of March.
What chance do you give K-State to win tonight, out of curiosity?
I've considered taking them to cover. I haven't bet it. I've considered taking them to cover. 5.5. I think it went down to 4.5.
So them on the money line is what, plus 250?
Maybe a little less than that, but yeah, you're not far off probably.
K-State.
Let's see. The issue with them, I just want, are they consistent enough?
Plus 195, at least in one book.
They're going to need Coleman Hawkins. They're going to need some of the guys who have been their stars to be their stars. I mean, there's no way they go through a run through the tournament unless their best players are their best players. You know how this works.
They
Some
shot
teams
the
can
ball really
survive
well
it
from 3 in the first half.
Mm-hmm. But they went 4 or 5 minutes without scoring last night.
Yeah, and the fact that they shot, that was their issue going into the tournament. They were not shooting the ball from 3 very well, and their confidence was lacking. Then they got some confidence, and shots started going down. So I just wonder if that carries over. And we haven't seen the trickle down effect in the Cincinnati-Iowa State game, but you always wonder, you play the night before, when do your legs start to get heavy? Does it get you on the second night? Or is that something that'll hit them on Thursday if they get there? That's why it's so tough to go on a run like this. But with the crowd advantage they'll have tonight, I think it'll be a close game. Like this is not one of those where I have no chance of seeing an upset.
No, I think K-State's got
they got a shot. They got a shot tonight.
40% chance, in my opinion. 45% chance to win tonight. I wouldn't favor them. I wouldn't pick them to win, but I do think, like you, the game will be close.
I don't know if you'll be able to convince me to put actual cash on them to win outright at plus 195. covering,
tempting.
Covering the 5.5. I might get there by tip-off.
You're going to fall back into 5.5 again?
Nah. I'll be honest,
the opposite end, obviously, but still.
Yeah, the K-State, it was that one was tough last night.
I would assume not, but K-State fans, would you expect them to stick around and root on UCF maybe a little bit in the game afterwards?
Sometimes if people already have the session pass, they stick it out, you know.
I mean, if their team
because you paid for the seat. If they lose, though, you usually just leave.
It's still a weeknight, right? Last night against
it's a Wednesday night.
Against Arizona State, the minute that game was over, 60-70% of the crowd that was there left. And I don't think they just went to P&L. I think it was a weeknight, and they're like, let's go home,
too,
right?
Yeah, for sure.
Tonight, though, I mean, the KU game's not going to get over until like 10:30.
KU fans show up early and root on.
I mean, the game starts, the early session's at 6, so people are getting off of work. By halftime of the K-State game tonight, you'll start seeing a good mix of purple and blue.
Big implications tonight for Missouri, too, because Mississippi State and LSU play at 6 o'clock. So whoever wins that one will be playing Mizzou.
That's right.
Boy, a lot of important local college basketball.
It's fun.
Tonight.
Fun time of the year, man.
Well, yeah. Who doesn't like tournament time? Iowa State's at the line for you, too.
Good. Good, Cody.
Get a little breathing room.
Well, it's going to be a sweat still.
A little breathing room.
Maybe
what,
Wes
we got 3.5 to go?
Foul, Gold.
What's that?
Maybe Wes Miller will have the Bearcats foul late in the game so you can maybe rake in a couple more points.
I'll promise you this. One thing, Cincinnati may not be that good. I'll tell you this. If they're down 5 with 15 seconds to go and they have a 1-on-1 opportunity, I bet you they're fouling Hurley. I bet you Cincinnati's fouling. Hurley.
Knowing this show's history of live watching sports in which one of us has a financial investment on, Jizzle James is hitting it to cover. Just as time expires for just no reason.
You want to say that again?
I'm just saying he's going to hit the shot.
No, he's not.
Stop
saying that. Stop saying that.
It just sometimes our luck just feels that way.
Don't put that out there. Oh my goodness! Don't put that out there.
That was a brick. He shouldn't take that shit.
Don't put that out there. There's 3 minutes to go. Iowa State's up 10. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they hit 102 free throws on the last one.
Since he's in trouble.
Someone says these athletes won't be tired each day. Look, I understand they're 19-year-old, 20-year-old kids. If you have to play 4 games in 4 days, you're feeling it on day 4. I don't care how old you are. And yes, they are.
NBA players don't like playing twice in a week. They don't like playing back to back.
Peak physical condition, young kids. I totally get what you're saying. It's not the same as the 30-year-old doing it at 3 days in a row on a basketball court. But there's still a limitation eventually. Yes.
Yeah. Just bodies have a limit of how many. And look, it doesn't mean they can't win just because they're tired. Sometimes people power through those things, and you make your way anyway. Gold's excited 3.
Yes, let's go.
Look at the KU fan rooting on Iowa State.
All of a sudden,
it just comes across weird. It's got to feel a little bit weird.
It's because there's a bet on it. It's
I know. They're not playing Kansas.
I know, but still,
it's
got to be weird.
You only bet on teams you root for?
No.
Okay, exactly. That's all. That's the point.
But I also don't bet on teams that I don't like.
I mean, Iowa State's not really relevant for the Jayhawks at this point, like Cody was saying. So it's all good.
Oh, it's over.
Oh, there we go. Don't put.
I said for Cincinnati. I didn't say for your bet.
But don't. Yeah, but
saying they're cooked.
It's
they're
71.
15.
Which is great, but there's still
You're right, Cody.
2.5 minutes to go. But it's looking good.
Cincy's chances of winning are done.
Good.
Yes, that's what I meant. Not your bet. Not their chance to cover. Just Cincinnati's chances to win this basketball game.
Up
which
next.
means they might mail it in.
We'll see. Up next, we're going to get to what's trending. Plus, MJ Melendez, Royals outfielder, joined us earlier today. We got his perspective on his batting stance change, why it's happening this year, and his thoughts about the Royals heading into the season.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
Hey, Missouri sports fans, I've got good news. Underdog is available to play in your state, so you're watching basketball. Today, you're heading down to the T-Mobile Center. You're thinking, well, I still want to make some selections. You can do that thanks to this basketball season, thanks to Underdog, one of the leading sports apps that you can play in Missouri. You just choose which players you think are going to go higher or lower than their stats. Last night, I told you I was higher than 26.5 of points, rebounds, and assists for Coleman Hawkins. That one worked out. Maybe you can head back and think he's going to go higher than 25.5 for those same numbers tonight. They got all your favorite leagues, teams, stars, but it's basketball season. Let's pay attention. NBA, but more importantly right now, college. So create those entries, mix and match across sports, and you can play for as little as $1 and win up to 1,000 times your money. Millions of people have already won billions playing over at Underdog. Download the app today and sign up with that promo code TAPP, TAPP, to unlock a special offer for up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. And join in on the fun when you sign up using that promo code TAPP, TAPP. Claim your special offer today and get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly upon your first deposit. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concern with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Some things just go together, like peanut butter and jelly, or a Casey's spicy chicken sandwich and a 49-cent medium fountain drink, or a Casey's breakfast sandwich and a 49-cent fountain drink, or even Casey's limited time Italian deli sliders and a 49-cent fountain drink. You get the idea. It's not crazy. It's Casey's. See store for details.
Folks are always asking me about QC Kinetics treatments. They want to know if they should consider it for their joint pain. If you're wondering if you are a good candidate, let's see if you answered a yes to any of these questions. First question, is your quality of life impacted by chronic pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or other joints? Do you have trouble sleeping, walking, and doing day-to-day movements? Next, do you want to avoid surgery and all of the pain, long recovery, and uncertainty that comes with it? And most importantly, do you miss doing things you love because joint pain is holding you back? Walking, golfing, jogging. If you answered yes to any of those, I bet you'd be a great candidate. So please don't wait. Call QC Kinetics right now and ask for your free consultation. Learn how the latest advances in regenerative medicine can get you lasting pain relief with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Call 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Hi, it's me, your USPS Ground Advantage shipment. Just left the warehouse and hitting the road.
I know. Just got the notification.
Great. Smooth sailing so far. I'm almost there.
Yes, I know. I get all the updates.
Made it. Safe and sound.
I know.
Well, did you know I was with USPS the whole time?
Oh, yeah. I know.
Keep your business in the know with the USPS Ground Advantage service. Visit USPS.com/in-the-know.
Honey, it's me, your wife. Spring is here, and our house desperately needs the experts at Powell Exteriors Casey for siding, windows, entry doors, beautiful decks, patio covers, roofs, and more. Get ready for summer at PowellCasey.com.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC.
At Skechers, we put the S in comfort. Now, I know you're probably spelling comfort in your head and asking yourself, is that possible? Am I just a really bad speller? Look, I don't know your spelling aptitude, but Skechers most definitely put the S in comfort because Skechers is the comfort technology company and has developed fits and features that change everything you know about comfort, like hands-free Skechers slip-ins, the ultimate in comfort and convenience. It's footwear you just step into and they're on, with no bending down. Find Skechers at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
For more than half a century, contractors and trade professionals have relied on WeatherGuard for heavy-duty truck and van storage equipment, not just to protect their tools, but to protect their professional reputations. Whether it's inside or outside of work vehicles, a WeatherGuard badge means pros can trust that their hard-earned name is in good hands. Since 1968 and every day since, WeatherGuard has been protecting anything it takes to build a professional reputation. WeatherGuard, established in 1968, proven every day. WeatherGuard.com.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things. People. Love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
If you've been thinking about a brand new vehicle, well, Max Motors is the spot you should be checking out. Hey, it's Alex Gold from Max Motors telling you once again why Max Motors is the place to go this spring if you're thinking about getting that new vehicle. Like a new 2025 Ram 1500. Right now, it's up to 15% off MSRP plus 1.9% for 72 months. Stock number S250016. Or maybe you're looking for a little bit different vehicle for the family. A new 2024 Chrysler Pacifica Touring L starting at $37,000. Stock number S240379. The weather's starting to get nicer. You're going to be out and about more. Maybe you're thinking about those road trips for the summertime already. Why not get a new vehicle, and why not go to the best in the Midwest at Max Motors, where they're going to walk you through the entire buying process. They're going to explain to you the total cost of ownership, not just what your monthly payment will be. And they've got the best financing options available with the max trade-in values in the Midwest. See dealer for details. Max Motors, the easiest place to buy a car, maxmotors.com.
The technicians you can trust with your house keys. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
Opening day coverage is brought to you by Hollywood Casino. Stop by Hollywood Casino every Wednesday in March from 12 until 2 to register for your chance to win opening day tickets. Your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. What's trending?
What's trending on Cody and Gold's presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. We start with the Chiefs restructuring some contracts to get under the cap before the league year officially begins about less than 90 minutes from now, I guess it is. The Chiefs open up $49 million in space by converting some money for Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones. This was one avenue to do it. The other, still at some point, if they need some cap relief, would be if they could get an extension done with Trey Smith. But this gets them under before the league year begins this afternoon.
Next up on What's Trending, Cooper Kupp has officially been informed by the Los Angeles Rams. He will be released at the start of the league year. He was obviously trying to work out a trade, or the Rams were, but this was the expectation. If they were unable to find a trade with someone, which was the expectation, he just cost too much money. Again, I think the teams that make sense for him could include teams like the Los Angeles Chargers, but I think some of those young teams who could use a reliable force when he plays will be there. Kind of interested to see where Cooper Kupp lands. There's a lot of reporting, including Diana Rossini and others, who said there's a lot of teams kind of lining up for his services, so we'll see.
Next on What's Trending, Big 12 tournament taking place again today in Kansas City. First game of the day has wrapped up. The Iowa State Cyclones pull off a 76-56 win against Cincinnati.
For a huge chunk of that game.
They end up covering. That's all that matters, folks. And then there's another game, Colorado, West Virginia, tipping off at 2 o'clock later on tonight. Kansas State taking on Baylor in second-round action. The late game tonight, 8:30 projected tip-off. UCF and Kansas.
That game probably won't end until 11, but have fun down there at the Big 12 tournament. Very jealous of the sunshine and everybody out there at Power and Light today. I'm sure it's an awesome time. Next up on What's Trending, the KC Current have signed Flora Marta Lacho to a free agent deal just a few days before they open their season. She becomes the first Angolan player in NWSL history. Obviously, just making some last additions before that. The Current are expected to be one of the better teams in the NWSL again. They have the reigning MVP in Temwa, so we'll see whether or not their season starts off the way they hope on Saturday. I know you'll be in attendance.
Yeah.
They open their season on Saturday.
11:45.
11:45.
They'll be hosting Portland. Last one real quick. I know you were talking about Cooper Kupp. I don't know if you got to MVS or not. Marquez Valdez-Scantling reportedly has signed a deal with the Seattle Seahawks for $5.5 million on a one-year deal.
Good for the old Chief, you know? MVS.
Hey, big-time catches. Like, nobody should have, like, I know he was frustrated at times, but at the end of the day, you shouldn't really have any ill will towards MVS. The dude came up with some massive catches on the way to a Super Bowl. What's that?
What is their wide receiver room now?
MVS is the number one.
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
MVS.
Jackson Smith and Jigba, MVS, and then there's another young kid.
Did they get Van Jefferson? I think, did they get Van Jefferson?
Who's that guy that, like, all of the, like, Bobo or, like,
him?
Yeah. Is he still a thing?
Yeah. Here's the room. I just pulled it up.
Jake Bobo, I think.
He is not there anymore. Oh, wait, no. You know what? Sorry. I stand corrected. Smith and Jigba, MVS, Bobo, Derek Young, Cody White.
Okay, they're picking a wide receiver.
Jalen Darden.
I mean, they could still be in the free agency market, but yeah, it kind of sounds that way.
That is what's trending here on Cody and Gold. Earlier today, Royals outfielder MJ Melendez joined us from Surprise, Arizona. It was great to catch up with him. We talked a little football to start things off. We also found out a little bit more about his decision-making process to change things up at the plate. And, of course, anytime we have a player on the show from Surprise, Arizona, our conversations are brought to you by Park and Go. If you're planning your spring getaway, look no further than Park and Go, open 24/7, and all spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. We asked him about NFL free agency and what team he's rooting for.
Yeah, no, I like the Chiefs. Pretty basic. Being there in Kansas City, I don't have anybody else that I root for. So, been following along with all the stuff that's been going on with around the league for sure.
I'm guessing your teammates there, Vinny, and I guess Jonathan Indy is a Jets fan too. They just signed Justin Fields, so maybe Massey's going to have to give them some advice on the former Bears quarterback.
Yeah, something like that. That's a pretty interesting sign. So I'm curious to see how he does there in New York. That's going to be definitely interesting to say the least.
Is it ever, like, I think for a lot of the guys we talk to, MJ, it's not. So it's, I guess, weird for you individually to be, like, a fan of a different sport, knowing that you're a professional athlete. Do you treat it different? I don't care if it's the NBA, NFL. Do you treat it different knowing, like, how someone might treat you as a professional athlete or anything else? Do you kind of handle it more than, you would otherwise?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like sometimes, fans or whatnot can get pretty ruthless. So I definitely, not that I understand the struggles of the sports, and professional sports are not easy at all. So definitely give them grace. Not everybody's gonna have the best game, but I definitely, I like. Other than that, no, I just I love watching the games. I love being a fan of the game and the team.
What's the sport you would have played if it wasn't this one? That's the classic question, right?
Oh, for sure, football. I played football in middle school and high school, so that would definitely be the move.
I guess always because I assume baseball players have arms. Was it quarterback, or did you play like something else?
Yeah, I played quarterback and corner, but I feel like I was better quarterback. I could handle my own, too, on defense, but quarterback, I feel like I can sling it, and I'm pretty accurate as well.
We're talking to Royals outfielder MJ Melendez here on 96.5 The Fan. Thinking of football, someone that was able to do both. Bo Jackson, I understand. I don't know if you have a chance to have any interaction with him, but I guess he's there at Surprise right now?
Yeah. Bo's been around, obviously, a lot over the years that I've been here in Kansas City or Arizona. He's coming here a lot, but with Kansas City, I've been able to have some conversations with him, and obviously pretty cool to see, a living legend, after he's played and, get to pick his brain a little bit.
I'd asked Vern, he's been down there with you guys, and I guess I'm just kind of curious, what do you think the attitude difference is this spring training versus last time, right? Like, now you guys know you can win, you've been to the playoffs, you got more confidence. Like, do you sense more urgency or more pressure? Like, how's the spring training feel different than a year ago?
I mean, it's just, it's different only because we actually went to the playoffs, but I think, we had the belief last year, so it's just going to the same, it's this year, with the same belief. Obviously, we want to get further. We want to win a World Series. That's the goal, and we fell short of that goal last year, but nonetheless, we had a great year, and now it's just building upon that.
How do you view this year individually for you? How pivotal of a year do you view this as?
Yeah, I mean, every year is an important year, but, was able to, kind of make some changes this offseason, make some adjustments. Obviously, the game is a tough one. It's you have to adjust to it to be able to survive, and, that was my goal this offseason, and, just do something so I can be a little bit more consistent, day to day and throughout a whole season.
What about some of those changes, at the plate, and just how you feel about that? We understand that was something that you were extremely receptive to.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I went into the offseason knowing I needed to do. Was able to talk to my dad a lot about it. It's something that my dad had been kind of asked me to do for a couple years now, and I've just been a little bit stubborn and hard-headed. So I definitely give the credit to him in terms of what made me first decide to go and make those changes, and just going into the offseason perfecting that.
What was the fear around it, I guess, MJ? Like, if you go back and you're like, why you feel like you were being stubborn? Is it because of the power you've shown in the bigs or in the minors? Is it like, what was it that was like so hard to let go of is the previous stance?
Yeah, I mean, I had been hitting with a leg kick my whole entire life, so that was probably one of the toughest things. Obviously, it's a completely different timing mechanism what I'm doing now. I've been able to get a lot of at bats this spring, and which has definitely helped me get more comfortable with that and more used to it because like I said, I'd been doing something a certain way my whole entire life, and of course I had some success in the minor leagues. With the way I was hitting, especially, in 21, and even when I got first called up to the big leagues. But just obviously change is hard. Nobody likes change, so that's probably just why it took long. It's just obviously change and doing that at the highest level.
You did make a big change, obviously, when they asked you to go out to left field, even though you'd caught your entire life. Just for a couple of the other guys, like Michael or Massey or some of these other guys who were learning outfield spots too in spring training, how long did it take you to feel like 100% comfortable, like I knew what I was doing?
I mean, it took a little while. I feel like this is, obviously every year you're out there, you're going to get better and better and more comfortable. But I feel like this is the best I've felt, this spring. Even last year, I felt good, but there was still a lot of things I needed to work on, especially with my jumps off the bat. And I feel like this spring has been the best I've felt in terms of, feeling my jumps off the bat. I feel like I'm reacting a lot quicker. It took me a little bit to kind of figure out, my pre-pitch setup and how I wanted to stand. And I feel like that, the little changes I made, going into the spring on defense has helped me feel a lot more comfortable out there. And so, it just takes time, reps, obviously, just different game situations, I feel like.
Royals outfielder MJ Melendez joining us here on Cody and Gold. And we know from a fan sentiment, I'm sure the bar has been raised by you guys after what you accomplished a year ago, getting into the postseason, winning that opening series against Baltimore. When you walked into spring ball this year, did you sense that the bar, of course, for you guys has been raised by yourselves and the expectation that, hey, we're not just playing 162 games, we're playing some more games than that?
Yeah, no, we definitely, we plan on making it an annual thing to be in the playoffs. It's something that, we, expect here. It's obviously last year was the first year we had done it in a while. But moving forward, that's something that we want to be, every single year. That's the expectation. That's the goal, is to be in the playoffs and obviously, to win it all.
All right, how do you spend your extra free time in spring training? Because I know there's extra free time even after the games, more than in a regular season because you're not always around some of the normal city stuff. What do you do when you're not playing baseball?
Not a whole lot, honestly. I wish I could say I went out and did more, but I really don't. I'm pretty calm, casual person. I'm in the house a lot, honestly. I'm a homebody, so not a whole lot. Watch some Netflix and whatnot. I definitely watch some Netflix. I've been doing some card stuff out here.
I was gonna say,
been some companies that I've been able to work with and do some stuff with, and even got some cool stuff coming up as well. But I've been into the sports cards as well a lot.
That seems like more than ever. It's pretty cool to see. Baseball players in particular, I guess it makes sense, are very involved in that now. I saw you had a video, I think Caglione was doing some card rips. Is that just that like Tops and these companies now have decided to go out to spring training and kind of partner up with you guys?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely it's a fun hobby. It's really cool. It's fun to rip open packs. You never know what you can get. So I've been doing that. Obviously, Tops, Panini. And then even just like these companies that they have stores that they open cards on these on the live streams and people buy into them, and we've gone. I know some of the guys have done this as well, and we've gone and we've been on the live streams while people are trying to purchase their teams for their card breaks, and we were opening up the cards for them on a live stream. So it's all pretty cool. It's a nice little it's a nice little thing that the community, the card community has going on, and I feel like they love the athletes, when we get into the cards as well.
Yeah, I love buying into the breaks. I totally get why everybody's intrigued by it. What's the biggest pull maybe you've had recently?
The biggest pull,
whether it's your collection or even if you were ripping open cards like that you pulled for somebody else in a break.
Well, depends how recent we're talking. I've had a couple decent hits over the past few months. I hit a pretty cool Wemby to 25 and this was like in the beginning of the offseason, so that was a pretty big card. And then I have a one-of-one Luka that I hit towards the end of the season last year with a one-of-one Luka auto. So that's a really cool one as well.
Nice. MJ, appreciate the time as always, man. We'll get in touch again when you get back to KC for the start of the season. Appreciate you coming on with us.
All right, no problem, guys.
So that was MJ Melendez earlier with us on the show, talking about his offseason. Obviously, the big thing is it took some time to make the switch at the plate, and he acknowledged, hey, maybe my dad was telling me this 2 years ago. But I'm
it's hard
sure
to make those changes,
tougher,
man. It really
much
is.
tougher than it seems from the outside. To like you're having some success in the minors, and you're on your way to the big leagues, and it was working there. You hit 40 home runs, and then like you're being told to switch it up. You have to be 100% bought in, and it sounds like he now is 100% bought into the switch. And great spring is one thing, but ultimately it's how we're going to judge him and how it works and everything. And the team will view it as, all right, let's see how April and May go. Usually he doesn't get off to a good start. It's usually later in the year he heats up in the second half. That can't happen again.
I am glad that he decided to make this switch, though, while a member of the Royals. You and I have had J.J. Piccolo on the show and other people. A lot of times, the kick in the ass, the swift kick in the ass that players need in order to be like, you know what, maybe I should throw a curveball. Not like somebody was or wasn't asking the entire time, is having to end up on a different team, having to end up with somebody else in order to like be willing to make that change, be willing to make that argument. And look, you and I do not know if it's going to work. Yeah. Eliminating a leg kick when you've been a leg kick guy since you were in like Pee-wee baseball, T-ball, hitting it, it's probably a difficult change to make, and he's going to actually have to stick with it. The most difficult thing in these circumstances is you go for 15 and you don't just be like, well, I'm going to be who I was before. And then you go 2 for 4 the next day and you convince yourself that all the work you put in, everything you did wasn't worth it anymore, and you rely on some of these old habits. The final 180 seconds of the show, the Cody Gold 180, is brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Results every week, and then receive free support for life online at awaken180weightloss.com. How you feeling about your other bet? Iowa State ended up covering by quite a bit.
They did, which
you
was
had
nice.
-5.5 for Arkansas?
4.5. 4.5. Iowa State covered. Now we're sweating a little Arkansas, South Carolina action. It's 61-54 Arkansas. 5:53 to go. The South Carolina Gamecocks are at the line. So.
How are you going to pay attention to this on your car ride home? Tell me you're not watching this game while you're driving.
I'll have the audio piping through.
Like, so you'll play it on YouTube TV, but you're not going to look at the screen.
Nope.
You're saying you'll have that upside down.
If you want to know the truth, the game's going to be over here in about 15 or 20 minutes. I'll just sit in the bullpen and watch it.
Oh, you'll just finish it before you get there.
Well, because this is going to be a full-on sweat now. We're trying to go 2-0 today, get back on track. We're 1-0 today, which is good after a bad beat last night. So
how many units?
One unit for each game.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 unit across the board.
Didn't know if you loved one.
One unit across the board. But official picks today were the Iowa State game and the Arkansas game. So
currently you're down 1 unit? Half a unit? Part of a unit?
Yeah,
one yesterday. Because you're making a pick if people want on the social media channels.
We're 1-1
Gold's
right
continue
now.
to make
We're
picks.
1-1.
We're 1-1. That's right. You won the first one. I was thinking from yesterday.
Yeah, trying to get to 2-1 with an Arkansas cover, and they're about to be up 6 with 5.5 to go, and I have a -4.5. So we're going to be sweat mode again.
Full.
But that's part of the fun, man. That's part of the fun.
Wait, what are you on?
Okay, so
I didn't get on anything. I should have bet something with you guys today.
The SWAC championship quarterfinals.
Okay.
Between
what do you? Well,
you're betting SWAC?
Yeah, so Southern and Grambling.
I don't think you're allowed to judge that.
Can you? I mean,
I did.
Is there a name of a player? Who's on SWAC?
I can tell
in the
you.
SWAC.
I can tell you.
See, I can't bet on something I don't even know the
teams.
player name. I got to at least know somebody on the. I got to know somebody.
Depends on the research. Sometimes someone can talk me into a bet that
I've got a.
Oh, sure, but yeah, was there a reason you made the bet? Like, did you was there? Like,
I just wanted to place a live bet, and I combined a few things. Bet 90 cents to win $7.50, and we are
90 cents to win $7.50.
Correct.
Okay, we don't unit shame on this show.
Well. Today we had some good drops involving.
No, that was different. That was the trash of the day, and I don't remember. A long line of wieners. Never, ever, ever get caught with your pants down. I feel like that needs context.
Trash of the day today was a gentleman in Florida or in New Hampshire, I guess, named Sean P. Wiener Sr. And he got in a car chase, and he then got out of the car naked and was running around the highway, and his name was Sean Wiener Sr. That's the context from Trash of the Day. And that's why Cody had those drops.
That's why I had those drops. We come from a long line of wieners. That was if the person was embarrassed.
That means there's a junior. If there's a senior, there's a junior, right?
How embarrassed by your
In this case.
I would have. If you didn't change your name
Or
before.
was he senior? He was junior, right? Or was he senior?
He was senior.
He was senior.
So there is a junior out there.
Oh, boy, 3-point game. Oh, boy.
Oh, man, you're in trouble.
There's still time. There's still time.
By the way,
1-3
if Arkansas chokes this the way they deserve to not make the tournament, they're on the bubble. A win here cements them in the tournament. And here they are. Arkansas's calling a timeout. Guys, they were up 17 at halftime.
But hey, guys.
17 at halftime. They're being outscored by 14 in the second half.
Don't
Pitiful.
worry.
Pitiful.
Don't worry. Brett Yormark, Greg Sankey, the commissioners.
Awful.
Arkansas would be in, next year.
That's terrible. You're up 17 at halftime, and now you're only up 3 with 4.5 to go.
I think people will take
Coach Cal, what are we doing?
Blowing it. And his team needs this win to get into the tournament.
People are going to be satisfied knowing that it's Cal, though, that this is happening to. There's a lot of people who I think are liking this.
We'll see. You know my philosophy. Look, Arkansas, if you're not going to cover, just lose the game outright. Screw you. That's where we're at. That's where we're at, Razorbacks.
Jeez.
Woo pig suey only if you cover.
Like crazy.
Woo pig suey only if you cover. Otherwise, I don't care.
Wow.
We're back at it tomorrow, guys. Thursday edition of the show. We'll talk some more Big 12 SEC tournament.
We'll have some reaction from K-State and KU, I'm sure, from tonight.
That's right. Text line. We appreciate your involvement today, especially during Trash of the Day. C-Dot and Rob. Drive coming up next.